Like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to JarrettFire.com. JARRETT Fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Superspeedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the losses of Amanda J. Gentry. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
Okay, the Bengals game on Sunday. There are 3 reasons why at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday we are going to start on the Bengals game on Sunday. 3 reasons. Does anybody want to take a guess as to what the 3 reasons that we would, because normally when the Titans play an opponent, Monday is Titans Monday, reacting to the game from Sunday. And then unless it's Brady, the Cowboys, a playoff game, usually we don't get to the other team on Tuesday. It's got to be a big game for it to be talked about on Tuesday. Now, this is not the Kansas City Chiefs this week, but it's Tuesday. And for 3 reasons, we're starting off on the Bengals game. Who wants to take a stab at those 3 reasons? And we're going to Family Feud style it. So I'm going to tell you if it's answer 1, 2, or 3 when you take a guess.
Is it because the Titans played on Thursday last week?
Bing! That's answer number 3.
Okay.
So there was no Titan game to react to yesterday. So obviously, that game was 4 days ago? So it's kind of in the rearview mirror. So that is not a bad answer, Caroline. Answer number 3. Who wants to try another one?
Well, I just thought this was going to be some type of trick answer about 3 Tannehill interceptions.
Oh.
Bing! Number 1 answer. The 3 Tannehill interceptions. Number 2, by the way, is because Thanksgiving's on Thursday, so we've got no show on Thursday and an abbreviated show on Friday. So that's why we're getting into the Bengals
I thought
here.
all 3 answers were going to be Tannehill pick, Tannehill pick, Tannehill pick.
Yeah, reason for each interception.
Yes.
And you know what? That's exactly where we're starting. So Ryan Tannehill today met with the media because the Titans had practice on Tuesday. They're taking Thursday off for Thanksgiving, so they're getting ready for the Bengals. And Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, the best coach in the NFL, has a message for the team as in regards to playing the Cincinnati Bengals, which is this is not a revenge game about last season and, as Ian put it, those 3 Tannehill interceptions.
This is not a revenge game. More than half of our team didn't even play in that game. But I think trying to have some familiarity with who they are, have a lot of respect for them, obviously, in all 3 phases. So that might help, Jim. There may be some carryover. Sure, they're still going to try to get the ball to their elite skill players and whoever those may be based on availability. Defensively, they're going to make it tough for you. And very, very good front and aggressive secondary.
Now, Mike Vrabel is the Coach of the Year, and he is the best coach in the NFL. So while I would not probably be doing this if I were the coach, I can't argue with it because he's got too many skins on the wall for me to sit there and question his motivational tactics. But does anybody really feel like this would be a revenge game anyways? Is there some, harbored anger towards the Bengals?
I don't think it's necessarily a revenge game as much as it would be like, okay, not necessarily toward the Bengals, but thinking about everything that was on the line the last time they played the Bengals. So I don't view it as like we have something against the Cincinnati Bengals, because they lost that game themselves fair and square.
Okay, which takes me to the not a revenge game. Jeffrey Simmons echoed these sentiments in the locker room. Ryan Tannehill was asked about it. Remember what Vrabel said right there about how half the team is different? Mm-hmm. This was Tannehill today.
Brian, your coach says Sunday is not a revenge game. Are you of that mindset as well?
Yeah, no doubt. Just like I said after Thursday night, that was last year. Half this team, wasn't even here. So this is a new team facing another new team. Obviously, a game we want to win, but it has nothing to do with last year.
Very original there from Tannehill after Vrabel said it 5 minutes before, which means that Vrabel walked in today into the team meeting and, probably addressed the Todd Downing thing. Boys, we got this. We're not going to be distracted by this. We're all going to do our jobs. And then went on to the Bengals about how this, I think Jeffrey Simmons said that Vrabel asked everybody in the room that wasn't on the team last year to put their hand in the air and go over the revenge game factor and see, like, half the teams knew. And Simmons said it, and Tannehill said it, and Vrabel said it. And so we know that is the official statement from the team, is that this is not a revenge game, and that what happened last year doesn't matter, and all the teams different, and everything else, and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Guess who that met? To me, that message is for an audience of one. And we know who the one is, right?
Tannehill?
Yes! I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The Cincinnati game, Cincinnati is not a bad team. And they got a quarterback that I have a lot of respect for, that I think is a great player and a great leader, and they're not a bad football team. And this is going to be a hard game to win on Sunday. I'm not sitting there thinking that the Bengals are an automatic W, baby. I'm not feeling that way. But let me say this. The biggest feelings that I have towards the Bengals game are all about how Tannehill pooped his pants last year in the playoffs. That's all I'm thinking about. That's all anybody should be thinking about. So I'm kind of on two tree branches here. One is I'm with you. I harbor no ill will toward the Bengals. If the Bengals had won the Super Bowl, I wouldn't have liked it. I mean, the Rams won the Super Bowl, and I didn't like that. But I wouldn't have been like, I hate the Bengals because the Bengals won the Super Bowl or anything like that. This is not like a college football rivalry, Michigan and Ohio State. This is just, Bengals went in there, they played an okay game, they got a kicker that was hitting everything, and Tannehill threw him the ball 3 times. It could have been any team in the league, and it wouldn't have mattered. Tannehill threw the ball to the other team 3 times. So one side of the tree branch is, does it really matter that it's the Bengals? Because, again, they beat the Titans fair and square, but everybody wasn't upset with the Bengals after the Bengals game.
No.
Everybody was upset with Tannehill.
I view a revenge game like it's personal. Like
right.
Tannehill playing the Dolphins, for example. I view that like a revenge game. Like, you didn't believe in me. Not just a team that beat you in the playoffs last year.
Right. Like, are you familiar with the name Dyron Talbert?
I am not.
So Dyron Talbert was a defensive lineman on the Washington Redskins, like, back in the day. And so there was an NFC Championship game between Dallas and Washington, and there was a quarterback controversy with Dallas because Roger Staubach had been hurt all year, and so Craig Morton played quarterback, and then Craig Morton got benched in the divisional game, and Staubach led the Cowboys back. And so after Washington beat Dallas, Dyron Talbert said, they picked the wrong quarterback. I was happy when they decided to play Roger Staubach. I mean, the other guy would have played a lot better than Roger Staubach. And Roger Staubach never let that go. And every time they'd play each other, those two would be the two captains that would go to midfield and refuse to shake each other's hands.
Because that's personal.
It was personal. And I don't think there was anything about Cincinnati and Tannehill that was personal, really, on either wavelength. And so, does this Bengals game mean anything extra because of Tannehill's performance in the playoffs? Like, that's one side of it. And the other side of it is the Chad Withrow theory, which is nothing that Tannehill does during the regular season matters, and it all comes down to the playoffs. And is there even any way that they could simulate, hey, you're exercising your demons this Sunday against Cincinnati, Ryan Tannehill? Or is there just no way to artificially do that, given the fact that it's not a playoff game. If they lose, nothing bad's really going to happen other than seeding. That if they win, nothing good's really going to happen except for seeding. And, whoever that first playoff game, whether it's New England or the Jets or the Chargers or the Bengals again, then it will really have some tea to it. Or is it like, no, you screwed the bed against that team, and they're coming in here, and you're coming off your best performance of the season against Green Bay, and everybody's feeling good about you, and now you got to go out there against that team, and you need to show us that you're not going to lose that game. How do you feel?
I feel, me personally, I feel like more of the mental aspect of it is less about the team and more about the circumstances. It's less about the Bengals and more about the fact that it was a playoff game. Now, I don't know how Ryan Tannehill feels. I mean, he told us, that's going to be a scar that he wears for a long, long time. So maybe if he goes out there and balls against the Bengals, then that's almost like the self-reassurance that he needed. Okay, that was the team, that was the game last year that I totally blew. And so if I come back this year and I play really well against that team, maybe that's what he needs. But in my opinion, I think it's less about the Bengals. It wouldn't matter if it was the Bengals or the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Bills. It was the fact that it was a playoff game and the Titans had such a clear path to the Super Bowl. That, to me, is the real bugaboo on Ryan Tannehill's back or this team's back rather than the Cincinnati Bengals themselves.
I got to be honest with you, I agree. Like, I'd love to hype this up as, how like the TV networks, not that this game is a TV network game, though.
Like a divisional round, showdown.
Right. Now, the CBS number 2 crew is coming here because the number 1 crew, they're taking off on Sunday because CBS doesn't have the doubleheader. And so Romo and Nance are working on Thursday, and then they're taking off, which I think is ridiculous because how much do those two really work anyways? And think about the money that they make. But they're taking off the game. So Ian Eagle and Charles Davis will be calling the game. So you get CBS's number 1 crew for that Sunday in particular. It's the number 1 CBS early game that'll be around a lot of the country, I think. But yeah, it's not like when the Bills played the Chiefs and it was like, last year it came down to 13 seconds. And even then, like Buffalo won the game. And I saw all these people that were like, this will ensure that the Bills will be at home in the AFC Championship game. And I'm like, whoa. It is October 13th. Like, calm down, everybody. There's a lot of football left to be played. I don't feel any extra juice with it being Cincinnati. I kind of thought I might. And the more I think about it, it's like the Cincinnati result last year had nothing to do with Cincinnati.
No, it had everything to do with Ryan Tannehill.
Everything to do with Tannehill. And I'm not knocking Cincinnati. Like, they were not a bad team last year, and I like their quarterback, and they've got great receivers. But, I mean, the Titans should have won that game. And the only reason the Titans didn't win that game is because Ryan Tannehill threw the ball to the other team 3 times. And that if they win on Sunday, like, because I was thinking about this, about, the hype of it being Cincinnati and what happened last year. But if they won, and I know people love, I don't know why this is, people love to assume what my opinion is going to be. I don't totally understand it, but it's like you'll read a text sometimes that are like, oh, you're just setting this up so that if the Vols lose, then you can say. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to say until whatever happens.
Except there are some times where I see something happen and I'm like, oh boy, Jared's probably going to freak out.
That's different than like these conspiracy theories that I long play my opinions as if it's not just instant read and react, that it's not just, he said what? That is, but I already know that if, like, let's say Tannehill goes out there and plays the way that he played the other day, right? So 330 yards, although the 330 number is a little out of whack because 60 of it came on that last play at the end of the game.
It still counts.
Where they were just rubbing their ass in Green Bay's face.
But even like 270 is still solid. I'll take 270.
For Tannehill, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So even if he plays the way he played last week, 330, 2 touchdowns, offense humming like a bird, I already know what I'm going to say, which is, well, congratulations that you could do that against Cincinnati. in the regular season. But I'm not really all that worried about what you can do against Cincinnati in the regular season. I'm worried about what you can do against Cincinnati in the postseason. That's what I'm worried about. So I guess, like, Vrabel and Tannehill are right. It's not a revenge game because the Bengals didn't do anything wrong. Like, did the Bengals even celebrate in a way that would, like the Ravens celebrated when they won in the playoffs by dancing on the logo because they got all butthurt when the Titans played the Ravens in Baltimore 2 years ago on this day, and Harbaugh thought the Titans were dancing on the Ravens logo. So I guess I'm trying to think, right? Like, I don't even think the Bengals – do you guys remember the Bengals doing anything wrong?
Somebody just texted in the text line and said, what about the CJ Uzomah trash talk?
Oh, okay.
And Bates,
First of all,
did Bates do a little talking maybe?
Bates.
The safety.
I don't even remember.
I don't know.
So
Something
CJ Uzomah said on the Pro Football Focus podcast that they knew that the Titans were scared of their offense at the end of the game and that they didn't want to give the ball back to their offense, which, I mean, I hate to break it to you, is true. But the fear with which I felt in the stadium that I am sure CJ Uzomah, who's not even on the Bengals anymore, what he probably was feeling from the stadium was really not a fear of the Bengals. It wasn't like they can't stop us. I mean, they sacked him 9 times. The fear was that Tannehill was going to throw the ball to the other team. That was the fear. And then what did Tannehill go out and do?
Threw the ball to the other team.
Okay. So I guess it's a long-winded way of getting rocking and rolling that I actually agree with Vrabel and Tannehill.
And how is that
not a revenge
different
game.
than Jeffrey Simmons going out there and talking about how they think they are, they're so much of a better team than the Denver Broncos? It's not trash talk. It's just talk.
Did Simmons say that?
Was it before the Broncos? What was that?
He said he was going to dominate the Chiefs' offensive line.
Dominate the Chiefs, that's what it was.
And they were mad about that. Boy, they were mad. We wondered if that had gotten back to Kansas City. It did, and they were mad. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I think I'm in total agreement with Vrabel and Tannehill that there's no added juice to the fact that Tannehill threw the ball to Cincinnati 3 times last year in the playoffs and that Cincinnati's coming back in here. But I do wonder, is Vrabel making the right decision to not make a big deal about that? Is he? Well, I have a theory, or maybe a thought behind it. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025, Stillman & Company. Rocking and rolling. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's 102.5, 106 through the game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend, and you'll get a free mini projector or big horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this, spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. this Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Hey, Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Brian, how much does the playoff loss still linger with you and bother you? And do you, I guess, listen to any of the things that are said, you know, in terms of people wanting to put the blame on you for that loss?
It's a scar. It's a deep scar. You know, it was a lot of sleepless nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I was rewatching the game in my head. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep for weeks and weeks after the game. Was in a dark place, and it took me a while and a lot of work to get out of it. You know, it wasn't something that went away easily, and it's still a scar that I'll carry with me, you know, throughout the rest of my life. You know, but just like a cut on your arm, you know, starts off as a wound. You're able to heal from it, and it turns into a scar. It never leaves you, but it's always there, and it can remind you. And now it's fuel for me. It's fuel for me to work and get ready with a passion and come into the season with a fire and you know, a desire to win like I've never had before.
That was Ryan Tannehill this spring when he finally talked about the Bengals playoff game last year, where he threw 3 interceptions. Then today, you know, hey, Bengals, not a revenge game. Nah, not even the same teams. By the way, there was Tannehill in his feels, and I think that was May, right? Because I want to say it was after Malik Willis was drafted.
This was right after the draft, yeah, because this was where the, I'm, not here to mentor Malik comments came from.
So it's funny because TD, Ian, if you could, TD asked Tannehill about kind of that mental block that he just talked about, that we played, that he talked about in May, about, sleepless nights, dark place, a lot of work, a lot of, getting over it. It's a scar that will last with me for forever and everything else. And TD asked Tannehill about that in like the nicest way possible. Listen to Tannehill's answer.
This game isn't a revenge game, but for you, just from a mental recovery standpoint, how has the year gone? Like, do you notice anything different? Did you learn anything new about yourself, going from that point to where you are now?
How Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're looking for there, but yeah, I mean every year is a learning experience. You're learning the guys around you. You're learning the nuances of how things are going throughout the year, and so each and every year is a little bit different. There's a little bit different mental side to it, and yeah, I think myself and everyone included has grown mentally throughout the challenges of this year.
Could have just hit TD with a no comment.
Or could have just said what he said in that second half of that response, which is a solid answer. Every year you learn something different. Every year you grow.
Oh, that's the no comment.
Yeah, but at least it's something. I mean, it's all of his responses are like that. I mean, it's responding without really actually giving you much substance. Just hit him with that. Not really sure what you're looking for there.
In all fairness, though, I don't feel any added juice about the Bengals because of what happened last year. I will say this, though, my theory. You think Vrabel should push him? Do you think that
Tannehill or the team?
Tannehill. Do you think that Vrabel, because the reality with Tannehill, I mean, I'm just going to call it how it is, right? And I hate to be blunt saying this. People are going to get mad. I mean, the reality is we all saw Tannehill poop his pants in front of everybody around the country and ruined everybody's season last year because he couldn't handle the pressure. We know that that's what happened last year. That is what he cracked last year.
Yes.
That's just what it is. And that doesn't make him a bad guy, and that doesn't make him a bad quarterback because he's better than a lot of bums that are out there right now for some of these teams. But he cracked last season, and he cracked in that Bengals game. Well, we won't know. And this is why the Bengals game this week I don't think has the added juice, because we won't know if Ryan Tannehill's going to crack under pressure until we see Ryan Tannehill under that kind of pressure again.
And that's why it's more about the playoffs and less about the Bengals.
So then should Vrabel put Tannehill, push him and put pressure on him for this game? Because ultimately, if they lose on Sunday, it's really probably not the end of the world, but it is to simulate the pressure of, dude, you blew it last year. Because regardless of what happens this season, if the rest of the games are like the Green Bay game Thursday night, then once they get to the playoffs, Chad Withrow's right. Once they get to the playoffs, it will all come back about, dude, you blew it last year. So should Vrabel use this game? Clearly he's not doing this. And he's the best coach in the league, so he's got the skins on the wall. I'm not saying he's wrong. In fact, he's probably right. I'm probably wrong. But should Vrabel use this game to put the pressure on Tannehill so that it almost simulates what we all know is going to happen when it's the Chargers in here in January?
I don't know. I mean, I think we saw how Tannehill was able to or wasn't able to handle the pressure, rather, last year in the playoffs. So why put that kind of pressure on him now?
Because he's gonna have to deal with it at some point.
But why now? Just because it's the same team that he crapped his pants in against last year?
Yeah, and it's like a practice.
Unless Mike Vrabel feels like there is something that is holding Ryan Tannehill back, and balling out against the Bengals is going to be what he needs to get his groove back, then maybe. But why add that extra pressure on Ryan Tannehill when, frankly, he's been playing fine all season long?
Because what this does is it practices the pressure for when Ryan Tannehill really does face that pressure. Because
But last year, Tannehill was turning the ball over, maybe not 3 times a game turn the ball over, but he was turning the ball over at an alarming rate last year. So it's not like the playoff game was just a crazy, outlying variable. I mean, it was something that we had seen from him all season long.
It was something we were begging for him to not do.
To stop doing.
It was like, just don't do it. Just don't turn it over, and you won't go, and you will go to the Super Bowl. And we were right, and he went and turned it over. But I do wonder, though, the pressure. It's kind of like the Marines, right? Mm-hmm. When you train for the Marines, and I've never trained for the Marines, but I've probably heard enough stories, they put you in these miserable situations because they want to see how you will react so that when you are deployed and you get put in a miserable situation, you remember your training of, oh, yeah, I remember that when I was in Paris Island that XYZ happened, so that now that I'm in Da Nang, I know, XYZ. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I know. But Ryan Tannehill's in these positions, in these situations every Sunday.
But no, like, more pressure.
Shouldn't you want him to approach a playoff game like he does every other Sunday?
But I know he's not going to. You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, the way these guys are wired, either they take it to another level or they bring it down.
I just don't see the need to do it now.
Like, if he was Michael Jordan.
They wanted to apply pressure on him to make sure he was ready for the playoffs and start doing that week 1.
If he was Michael Jordan, I would be like, he's going to go out there and drop 85 points. Just because that's Michael Jordan. Like, the way that he was about, you're going to be mad at me because you talking about how I turned the ball over 3 times last year? I'll go show you. Tannehill, I don't know. But the whole thing about the turning the ball over 3 times, that's not going away. Like, as soon as the playoffs start, and we know the Titans are making the playoffs, the New York Times gives the Titans a 96% chance to win their division. So between that and Jeff Saturday, like, they're going to win the division. And so we know and it's all coming that week. It's going to be like the Titans this week hosting the Dolphins. What do we make of it? Bob, what do you think? I think the big one, Scott, is going to be whether or not Ryan Tannehill can handle. We all saw what happened last year. So if you're Vrabel, do you kind of push it a little bit just to see how he'll react so that once you get in the war, how the soldier is going to respond? Well, just throwing it out there as a question.
What if he adds that extra pressure this week and Ryan Tannehill absolutely crumbles?
Then you know that you better figure something out.
What are you going to figure out?
Boot camp. You're going to have to figure something out throughout the course of the year.
You're going to wake Ryan Tannehill up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a bucket of cold water and say, get up, Ryan.
Hey, all I know.
Welcome to hell.
All I know is that Tom Landry figured it out in 1972 that Craig Morton couldn't do it and put Roger Staubach in. All I know is that in the middle of the year, Bill Walsh was alternating Steve Young and Joe Montana, and Mike Holmgren came up to him and said, you got to stick with Joe Montana, and they won the Super Bowl.
Does Mike Vrabel have that alternative?
All I know is that those coaches, some of the best coaches ever, and Vrabel's a pretty good coach. And so if anybody can figure it out as to, okay, now I need to figure out which buttons on the elevator to press in order to get it to go to the top, it's him. Just throwing that out there. We'll get to your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus, what Phil Simms had to say about Tannehill and Cincinnati. We'll get to that coming up and then right to your phone. Stillman and Company, 1025-1063 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Tools of the Game brought to you by Northern Tool and Equipment, the problem solver's paradise. This Black Friday, get the perfect gift for every solver on your list from names like Honda, Milwaukee, and Lincoln Electric. Northern Tool and Equipment, made for gift giving.
If you own a house, you've got a huge asset, and everyone's looking at it. With Wall Street investors buying up homes in Nashville and renting them out like never before, you have to wonder, what do they see in your big asset that you don't? The truth is, if you sell your home instead of renting it, you can kiss your asset goodbye. Especially with today's higher interest rates, the best way to save your asset is to rent it out instead. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis today. Or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want? I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mace, we'll talk some Preds with Hal Gill coming up at 11. Jonathan Hutton at noon. Silly Underdog Picks, special edition at 1 o'clock as we get you set for Thanksgiving. The fun begins at 10 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
As we see the year go along, Ryan Tannehill, after that Cincinnati playoff loss last year, I can't imagine how he felt the whole offseason. He carried it, and he even carried it into the start of the season. He felt the pressure, all the things that come with it, not playing well, losing a playoff game. Oh, we drafted a quarterback. But, man, has he come on strong, got nicked up, missed 2 games, but boy, coming back. Good, solid game last week, but excellent last night.
There you go, Phil Simms talking about that pressure Tannehill felt after he ruined everybody's season last year with those 3 interceptions against Cincinnati. Phil Simms salutes Ryan Tannehill for that. Phones, 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What do we have?
Ryan in Nashville texts in, says, I think it's helpful that Tannehill is coming into this game having played so well against the Packers. Tannehill must lick off Jesse Bates, and Titans should go up tempo offense like they did after converting first downs against the Packers. It was effective.
Wrong, texter. Last year, the Bengals game, Ryan Tannehill might have had his best performance in the season finale against the Texans. Now, I know the Texans suck, and they still stink, but Ryan Tannehill won them that Texans game, which is really the only game that we felt like last season that he won them. We gave him a game ball after they beat Jacksonville because he didn't turn it over, but that's how bad things were last year. So it was like, congratulations for doing your job. Here's a game ball, which I don't necessarily like doing. But I thought about that, right? Here's Cincinnati after what happened last year, but Tannehill's coming off that great game against Green Bay. And it's like, actually, Tannehill played his best game last year against the Texans, and he still threw 3 interceptions against Cincinnati in the playoff game. So, no. Now, there is another little element here that does bother me. I think Zach Taylor, the coach of the Bengals, is a total boob. I'm not a fan of his. I think that he's the kind of guy, he reminds me of, Jim Caldwell coaching the Colts when they had Peyton Manning and they made it to the Super Bowl. And it's hate to say it, Jim Caldwell, but it ain't because of you. I am not a fan of Zach Taylor, but he is 2-0 against the Titans, against Vrabel, and against Tannehill. And that includes a game where they were awful, like the 2020 season when they stunk. Now, Joe Burrow played in that game, and the Titans' defense was a train wreck, and I thought Arthur Smith called a pretty bad game, and Tannehill played awful. And so he talked about Jesse Bates and things like that. Well, what started that game was Tannehill threw an interception to Jesse Bates right there in the red zone. So maybe Zach Taylor, and I forget the defensive coordinator's name, Lou Amarillo maybe. That sounds right?
I think it does kind of sound right.
Lou Amarillo, No, that's Lou Lamoriello, the hockey guy. It's like Lou Amaro or I don't know.
Lou
But
Anarumo and Anarumo.
Lou Anarumo, him.
Yes.
Maybe they got something figured out about Tannehill. I don't know. But, I'm a little torn. Like, one, he played great last year before they played the Bengals game, and he was terrible. But then Tannehill, as a Titan, is 0-2 against the Bengals, and the Bengals stunk in 2020. Like, they stunk. What's next?
Andrew Texan says, beating the Bengals on Sunday is like showing out in front of your ex's new boyfriend. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's probably a good guy, but screw him.
I don't feel that way about the Bengals. I don't care about the Bengals.
I don't know if Tannehill and the players that were on the 2021 team that are still on the team now feel that way of the Bengals didn't do anything wrong, but it almost the Bengals represent everything that we didn't have last year. I don't know if the players feel that way, if they feel intrinsically motivated to kind of stick it to them. But I personally don't feel that way about the Bengals. I am more concerned about the playoffs.
I didn't feel any jealousy towards the Bengals last year. Like, I didn't feel like jealousy. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel disrespect. I mean, I was mad at Tannehill.
But I wouldn't blame players that feel a little bit of anger or jealousy towards us.
I mean, that's why everybody knows it. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Now, I do wonder this. Is there any team out there that, like, the Titans should have any sort of personal beef against? Nobody in the division.
I mean, like, not now, but the Colts always, I feel like.
No, I mean, that's just
Colts.
like...
I would put the Colts in there.
Yeah, I would say that's...
But what have the Colts done to the Titans?
In terms of a rivalry?
Just, that's more of an old school thing, right? When they Peyton used to beat them all the time kind of thing.
It's
but
not
that's
exactly
about it.
like the Packers and the Bears.
No, definitely not.
So I don't...
Maybe the Ravens.
But to me, the Titans, other than the Super Bowl that the Ravens won in 2000, which should have been the Titans Super Bowl, the Titans got back at the Ravens when they went there a couple years ago and ended their dream season in the divisional round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I felt like that kind of ended it, and then there was the jumping on the logo nonsense.
It's some good back and forth. Yeah, I mean, didn't Harbaugh and Vrabel almost get into a fight?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
would
the
pay
Ravens
good money
are the
to watch
closest thing, right?
I think so.
To like a revenge
them or the
or
Colts.
rivalry?
I feel like them and the Colts.
To me, there's just no bad blood with the Colts anymore. That's gone. They're mad at you, not you mad at them.
I think that still comes into play, though.
I just look at the Colts, and I mean, for years, I've had to look up at the Colts and see, there's Peyton Manning. I hate to break it to you, but they have Peyton Manning and you don't. And now I look down at the Colts, and I'm like, you guys suck. And your organization stinks, and your owner's a doofus, and your players stink, and I don't even. I mean, I laugh at them
where the
because
division is at right now. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of deep set hatred. There's no like Bears, Packers, Saints, Falcons kind of hatred because everyone else in the division is pretty bad.
Is there a Saints Falcons hate?
Oh yeah, like bitter
Really?
hatred.
Really?
Oh, hate each other.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there like even like a
Bears, Packers?
I will say this: the most personal rivalry that I think the Titans have is not this week, it's next week.
Because AJ?
AJ?
AJ!
Is there
And
any
you
sort of
know
feeling
he's going to be talking.
Is there any sort of feeling toward the Falcons?
With the Titans?
Yeah. With
Why?
Arthur?
No. I mean, I root for Arthur. I hope Arthur does well. Marcus? I love Marcus. I hope Marcus plays great.
But the feeling of, we want you back here.
No. I mean, like, that's got to be like Bill Parcells going to the Super Bowl and bitching the whole time he's there and New England losing to Green Bay, and then 5 minutes later Parcells is out the door and he's coaching the Jets. Like, that's what that is. Like, that's where you get that kind of anger. But not, the coordinator left, went there, and we root for the best for the coordinator and now the quarterback who used to be here.
Yeah.
I don't have any angst with that. There's just really no real anger.
I think
as far
it's
as the
more
Titans are
so
concerned.
personal. Like AJ's
or
it. Tannehill to the Dolphins. Like, I don't think the Titans fans or Titans as a whole care about the Dolphins, but
No.
Tannehill does.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. One thing that Ian said weeks ago that is now, I know, it was something that, it's kind of lining up, but I was like, maybe it won't happen to the Titans. It looks like it might. We'll touch on that next and get back into your phones. TriStar Moving. I don't know anybody who gets excited about moving because it's stressful. It takes a lot of time, and it is not fun. However, when I found my friends at TriStar Moving 2 years ago and I moved, they made my outlook on moving so much better. Why? Because they made it easy. Nobody likes moving because it sucks and it's hard, but not with TriStar. TriStar is the best. I always tell people, hey, if you're moving, just call TriStar and get a bid. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to go with them, but once you get a bid from them, you work with their awesome sales staff. You get to know the people that run that company. You are going to be like me. You're going to be hooked on TriStar for forever. And when people are like, hey, you got a moving company? I'm like, talk to these people. TriStar Moving. Call them right now. They will take great care of you. And I know that because I've sent several of my friends to TriStar, and it's worked just like that. So if you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio. Moving is expensive. So when I say that you'll get 10% off if you tell them that I sent you, that's a lot of money. Because, again, moving is expensive. So give them a call, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you. Get a bid from my friends. That's TriStar Moving. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Cold temperatures this morning, not quite as cold as yesterday. In the afternoon, a little bit warmer. Going in toward the middle of the day, we'll see temperatures that will be in the middle 50s and partly cloudy. No rain until Thanksgiving.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like breathtaking means yikes. Fixer-upper? It was definitely on an episode of Hoarders. And close to everything? Well, I hope you like the sound of trains. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if the house is charming, it's probably ugly, but has a great personality. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend, and you'll get a free mini projector or big horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this, spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. This Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Where's your confidence or hope level for Jamar this week?
It's hard to say. You know, it's we'll start working him back this week to see where he's at. I don't want to make any predictions on that, but everything has gone according to plan so far. And now it's just a matter of getting him out there on the grass and seeing where he's at and what's his comfort level, what's our comfort level. And so that'll truly be a day-to-day process, really starting today, tomorrow, Wednesday, to figure out, how he factors in on Sunday.
That includes his availability for Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, we're never going to rush our guys into it. It's a long season. We want Jamar to be a big part of this as the season wears on. And so, again, we'll just take it day to day and have constant communication with him and Matt Summers and our whole medical staff and figure out what the process is. But everything has been positive up to this point, as we'd hoped it would be. And now we just got to take it through this week.
Jamar Chase is probably going to play Sunday. That's at least the vibe that I got from that cut from Zach Taylor right there. And Ian said it about 5 weeks ago when it was like Jamar Chase is out for the next 3 to 5 weeks with a hip injury, but they decided not to place him on IR. If they had placed him on IR, he would have missed the Titans game because they had a bye in there. And I was like, I mean, if he's got a hip injury, he's not going to come back and play the Titans. And it looks like the reason they didn't put him on IR is because they don't want him to come back and play the Titans. And it looks like he's going to come back and play the Titans. So, again, what was it, Ric Flair? If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man or whatever it is. But
Woo!
I would prefer, I would prefer to not play Jamar Chase on Sunday, but that's a development we'll have to keep our eyes on. Ian, you sniffed it out a mile away.
Well, I mean, if you go on IR, right, you got to be out the 4 games. So, I don't know, man. I'm not so convinced he's going to play.
Oh?
I don't know. Just he hasn't practiced really at all, right? In however many weeks. Granted, he probably doesn't need a lot of practice.
Right.
Considering him and Burrow have a pretty good rapport and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does play, or if he doesn't play at all, and if he does play, extremely limited.
Now I feel better.
That's just speculation.
No, I think that this is just the worry wart in me. I'm just assuming that he's going to play and ball out.
I mean, he's pretty good.
He's really good. But also, I was doing, some research thinking that Joe Burrow's stats would have fallen off significantly since Jamar Chase got injured, and that is absolutely not the case.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen against Vrabel. I know they played the Steelers last week, and I think the Steelers are kind of cheekish, but I don't know who else they've played. I want to say they played Cincinnati.
It's been
Cleveland,
Carolina, and Pittsburgh.
So cheek.
And they've gone 2-1 in that span.
Like Vrabel, if Jamar Chase doesn't play, and it's just Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, and they don't really – I mean, Hayden Hurst is their tight end. He's fine. He's kind of like Austin Hooper. He can beat you, but he's not going to be the guy that beats you. Vrabel's taking T. Higgins away, and then Joe Burrow will have to throw to the other guys, which Joe Burrow can do. But if Jamar Chase is out there, Vrabel's taking him away, and then T. Higgins is probably going to go off on the Titans. Mm-hmm. So make of that what you will. 6, so we got to keep that, kind of in our focus as well. Back to the phones. 615-737-1025. What do we have?
Mike in Clarksville texts in, says they can say all they want that this isn't a revenge game, but I'm sure deep down inside they want to go out there and just stick it to them to prove to everyone they were and they still are better than the Bengals, even with such a different-looking offense.
I know, but here's the problem with that. If you go stick it to the Bengals as a way to show everybody that we're better than the Bengals, like let's just say that they crushed the Bengals.
Uh-huh.
And somebody says, yeah, we've proven that we're better than the Bengals, what would your response be?
Okay. Good,
right.
Nice.
Right.
It doesn't change. You don't go retroactively back to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And also, don't you go into every single game with that sort of mindset of we want to prove that we're better than this team?
I don't think it's as much as people probably make it out to be. I don't think the Titans went into the Green Bay game to be like, we're going to show them we're better than Green Bay. I think it was more so we need to win, to keep pace with everybody else in the AFC, which I'm still kind of struggling with a little bit. The idea, I mean, at this point, the Titans are really only playing for seeding, right? The division's over.
Yeah.
So they only can finish between 1 and 4. And last year they finished 1, and it didn't matter. Now, I'd prefer to play here than have to play in Buffalo or have to play even at Arrowhead. But I mean, we saw the Titans go to New England and win a playoff game. We saw the Titans go to Baltimore when the Ravens were the number 1 seed and win a playoff game. The Titans have lost their last 2 at Nissan Stadium in the playoffs here. Really, they've lost their last Bengals, Ravens, and then they beat the Steelers in 2002. So they've lost their last 3 in the playoffs at home, unless I'm forgetting one in there. I don't think I am. They've lost their last 3 at home in the playoffs. It's like, what's a big freaking deal with seeding anyways? Because the only thing they're playing for is 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's it.
I know, but you'd still rather play at home.
I know. I'd much rather play at home. And I think it matters. Like, I watch these games. Like, I watched the Sunday night game with the Chargers playing the Chiefs, and I was legitimately pissed off about how stupid the Chargers played defense on Sunday because I knew it was hurting the Titans' chances in the AFC at the number 1 seed. Again, the Chargers-Chiefs game doesn't really have any impact on whether or not the Titans are going to make the playoffs.
It's about where they're going to be in the playoffs.
Right. We already know they're going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
And here's what's crazy, too. Here's where I would argue that the seeding matters at least a little bit, which is if the playoffs started today, Buffalo, who's the top wild card team, would play Baltimore, and I don't want to play Buffalo in that first game. That's it, though. You know, right now, Cincinnati is 7, New England is 6. The Titans would play New England. Miami would play Cincinnati, and Miami's ranked ahead of the Titans. Who would you rather play in the first round of the playoffs? New England, who can't get a first down, or Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, who just went to the Super Bowl?
Oh, give me New England all day.
I mean, they can't. I think they scored 2 touchdowns over the last 3 games or something ridiculous like that. So it's like, I mean, there's a big part of like, does it even matter? Like, they lose on Sunday, whatever. Or is it like, no, you want the 3 seed or the 2 seed if you can get the 2 seed, because if you're the 2 seed, then you play the first 2 games at least here at Nissan Stadium, maybe 3 if the 1 seed goes down, and these 1 seeds go down all the time.
But I mean, like, can you really project that this far out? I understand what we're getting to the end of November and the season's starting to come down at least a little bit, but like, there's still a good bit of games left.
This is where the answer is yes. And the only reason the answer is yes is because I remember last year when the Titans beat the Colts for the second time. And before that game, we were talking about, you know, if the Titans win, is the division over, and then our focus. And at that point, I was like, no, our focus is no longer on the Colts, and it's all about the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens and all those teams.
Yeah.
And all season, really, because the Colts have sucked so bad, our focus all this year has been on the Chiefs and the Dolphins now and the Bills and the Ravens and maybe Cincinnati and everything else. There's a part of me that just wants to keep winning because it's the next game.
Well, yeah, of course
it's
you
like,
want to
go
win.
win the next game.
Of course you want to win, but I'm saying,
Not almost win.
If they lose on Sunday, I'm not going to say, oh, my goodness, no. The second seed in the AFC is completely gone, because I don't believe that's the truth.
Or even then, it's like, is it the end of the world if they don't get the second seed?
No.
And speaking of that, Phil Simms, the great Phil Simms, he has a take on the Titans that I want to get to that confirms exactly how I feel about the Titans. And that made me feel good. We'll get to that coming up next. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Hey, football fans, make this Thanksgiving to remember with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. By the way, we got some really good games on Thanksgiving, which is a nice little change from some of these weeks or years that we've had a terrible, like a couple years ago, we had the Texans and the Lions. Because when you bet an NFL same-game parlay from now through November 28th, all customers get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose. Just bet an NFL SGP or SGP Plus of at least $20. The bigger you bet, the more you'll get back in free bets. NFL same-game parlays are a perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a larger payday. So build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose, when you bet an NFL same-game parlay of 4 legs or more. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with, of course, the great promo code JGM. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet is $100. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that. It's got to be there. That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save me, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. So, in my heart, one thing that I never want to be is I never want to be a local homer. And you know what's crazy about that, Caroline?
What's crazy about that?
Is that, like, I am a fan. Like, I don't, you know, I don't know what it is. But it's like, unless you played for the team, so it's like, you know, guys like Derek and Blaine Bishop and like they, you know, Floyd, you know, it was different because like they are Titans. Even though Derek retired a Raven, which is a sore subject, I'm not going to go any further than that. But like they are Titans. So like that's their team and everybody knows it. But then everybody else in the media, it's like, you know, I'm not a fan. I cover the team, which for the most part is true. And then there's Joe Rexroad, who's a fan of every team that he covers. But I think the thing for me is like, I'm a really big fan. And yet I also want to be as objective as possible when it comes to truly analyzing the team. And you know, that's my mantra. Whether or not you believe that that's it, you know, have at it. But Phil Simms was on SiriusXM on Sims the Mad Dog, and he was talking about Tennessee. Mad Dog Russo, this is on Friday's show, Mad Dog Russo asks him about how far he sees the Titans going. And I loved what Phil Simms said because it's exactly what I think, and because it makes me feel like my opinion of this football team is not blown out of proportion and that it is accurate that I think the Titans can make it to the Super Bowl this year. This is Phil Simms on Sirius XM.
Can you see a path of Tennessee winning the AFC? And let's assume they don't get the bye.
Yes, I can. I just think we're getting a lot of evidence. They go out there with Malik Willis, and I don't know what they have, 40 yards passing, whatever it is, and they took the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City into overtime. And so that tells me a lot about their football team. So this Tennessee Titans team, I can see a path for them to go on the road or at home, Chris, and beat they can beat anybody. That's what I feel about them.
Yes! Yes! Phil Simms is right. It's like that's exactly how I feel. Is that not exactly how I feel about this team?
You've said it so many times that you believe that this team could go in and beat anybody, but also lose to anybody on any given Sunday.
I mean, the way I feel about this team, when they went to Kansas City and they lost in overtime, I said, look, I'm not a moral victory guy, but I'm calling this a moral victory. You know, remember Vrabel was like, this is the NFL. There are no moral victories in the NFL. And I was like, not this one. And I get that,
but
I was like, not this one. Moral victory against Kansas City, because they should have, if they had just had, now I lost my, I still am mad that the Titans are a sprained ankle away from Malik Willis having to go in there because he can't play quarterback right now. But like that Kansas City game, that was hey, we're just as good as you from the Titans, like saying that to Kansas City. And I was like, that was eye-opening to me. But I don't want to be a homer. But Phil Simms says the same thing. Then I was talking about watching the games this week, and I'm like, look, I think Dallas is a good team. But I think the Titans on the right day can beat Dallas. I don't think Dallas is some insurmountable beast.
I mean, if the Cowboys and the Titans play today, what's the spread?
I mean, the Titans aren't even favored on Sunday.
No, they're not.
Which is crazy. If the Titans and the Cowboys play today, Cowboys, neutral field.
Neutral field.
Cowboys 7.5. I
was going to say 6.5.
But I would take those points. I think the Titans would win, and two, obviously, if I think the Titans are going to win, I definitely think it's going to be within a field goal. But I mean, I think the Titans can beat any team. I really do, and I think they can lose to a lot of teams. I don't think they're going to lose to the Texans. I don't think they're going to lose to the Jags. I thought that on Thursday night they proved that they are significantly better than the bad teams, because Green Bay is right there on the cusp between bad team and average team, and the Titans went in there and smoked them. So to me, they're not going to lose to any of these teams that are just the absolute dreck of the NFL. They're not going to lose to them. Chargers are kind of right there, in my opinion, with the Packers, as far as like right there between, like maybe they're average and good as the Packers are average and bad, but I think they'll beat them. And it's just the point that Phil Simms made of like, I think they can beat anybody home or away. I think the Titans can beat anybody home or away. That doesn't mean that I would say that they have they don't have a better than not chance to win the AFC, and they don't have a better than not chance to get to win the Super Bowl. But I think that they have as good of a chance as everybody else, except maybe Buffalo. Buffalo's the one team that I'm like, Buffalo might have a better chance than everybody else. And the fact that Phil Simms thinks that makes me feel even more right about my opinion of the Titans, because I know that even though he probably doesn't know as much about the Titans as I do, he is infinitely more objective about the Titans than I probably am. So it makes me feel better that my opinion about where this team is and their ability to compete at the top of the league is actually fair.
Because you don't want to be a homer. And
I don't want to be a homer.
I get that.
I don't want to spew
that.
stuff on the air that, like, to the people is, it's like I was talking to somebody today about Tennessee. And they were like, I know it was a tough game on Saturday, but, to think where we were last year, just happy to make the Music City Bowl, and here we are talking until last week about going to the national championship. Think about that. And I'm like, no.
That's what losers say.
You blew it against South Carolina.
But I do wonder, because we played a couple cuts yesterday of national media members singing the Titans' praises, Colin Cowherd being one of them. And then now we hear Phil Simms saying, hey, they could beat anybody at any time. Did it take simply beating the Packers at Lambeau for everybody else in America to take notice that, hey, the Titans might be a pretty good football team?
Ian, what do you think?
I'm sorry.
I'm torn. Here's where I'm torn.
I mean, I asked, did it take the Titans beating media to realize that the Titans might be a pretty good team?
I don't know. That's a good question,
Because I feel like there are national media members coming out the woodworks to sing the Titans' praises.
I think just based on the results and the just straight up wins and losses, they're running out of ways to deny it.
To count it out?
Yeah. Just because they were 12-5 last year, number 1 seed, they're 7-3. They're still leading the division after everyone counted them out. The longer the season goes on and they continue to put up these wins, and it did help that it was on national TV.
That's true.
And it was a standalone game. Those standalone games always get blown out of proportion,
Yeah.
But I just think when you look at the records, it's just you can't deny it at some point.
I think it's twofold. I think the first thing is, that moral victory at Kansas City. I think everybody gives the Titans the benefit of the doubt for that game. Like, everybody gives the Titans if they had a real quarterback in there, they would have beaten Kansas City.
And I think that's fair.
Oh, because it's true.
It is true.
Everybody knows it. So I think they kind of looked at it like that. I mean, the defensive performance, I know Patrick Mahomes threw for 480 yards or whatever it was in that game, but I thought the defensive performance against Kansas City was out of this world. And then they go to Green Bay, and Green Bay, the last time anybody had seen them play, they just hung, 21 unanswered on Dallas or whatever, and they came back and won that game and beat the Cowboys. And now here they are, and the defense is doing the same thing to Aaron Rodgers that it did to Kansas City, but now the offense with Tannehill in there is throwing the ball deep to Okonkwo, throwing the ball deep to Burks, throwing the ball short to Woods, throwing the ball to Hooper in the end zone for a touchdown. And I just think that everybody's looking at the Titans like, man, this team never goes away. This is not a one-hit wonder team. This team every year is right in the same spot. And I think the other thing, too, is what we've now said for a while. I said this during the summer. Remember I said Vrabel on national radio? I said that Vrabel was the best coach in the NFL, and some guy from Baltimore called in and was like, what about Belichick? What about Tomlin? What about Harbaugh? What about? And I'm like, yeah, I think Vrabel's a better coach than all those guys. And we talked about whether or not that was a homer take.
Uh-huh.
I don't think people, like if I were to go on anything and say, I think Mike Vrabel's the best coach in the NFL, I don't think there's anybody out there that would argue that. Like, I'm not saying that people are jumping up and down that if I were to go around the room and say we were to have like a 12-person committee like the college football playoff, and we were to say, okay, who's the best coach in the NFL, that I would get 12 Vrabels. But I think if I raised my hand and said Mike Vrabel, I don't think any of the 11 other people around the table would say that's crazy. And so I think that's part of the respect of the Titans is that they've got a great coach. And honestly, it feels like they've got the most consistently the best coach of winning the underdog games. Now, they're an underdog because everybody else has a quarterback, and they got Tannehill, but I think a lot of it is the respect for the coach.
Also, look at all the crap bum quarterbacks in the league right now.
Terrible.
I take Tannehill over a lot of the quarterbacks in the league right now.
Oh, I think that's the other thing too, right? Is they go to Kansas City and they lose. And they lose with Malik Willis, right? Remember the second game of the year? It was team stinks, Derrick Henry's old, Tannehill sucks, they're done, forget about the Titans.
Yeah.
Then nobody watched the Titans play. Like nobody watched a single Titan game. And then all of a sudden the Titans win 5 in a row or whatever it is. And it's like, Tennessee's pretty good. Tennessee, they keep winning all these games. And what's wild to think about is all those games were like right at the the Raiders game was right there on a 2-point conversion. The Commanders game was the Carson Wentz interception. all of those, like right there, right by the skin of their teeth, but they keep winning them. And so then it's like,
But
you know,
even games, two of the 3 games that they've lost came down to a field goal in overtime.
Yeah, and a backup quarterback who couldn't throw.
Right.
And so then people saw the Titans play against the Chiefs, and they were like, yo, that defense is legit. Like, that defense is legit. But, you know, they still got Tannehill at quarterback, so we can't take him seriously. Then the next game they watched, Tannehill throws for 330 yards and rubs his buns in Aaron Rodgers' face. And it's like, I guess they're pretty good. And I think that's where the love is coming from. But again, it's not even about the love, because I think it is well earned. For me, I think Phil Simms is right. His opinion is the exact same as my opinion. And I'm not saying that makes it the truth, but it makes me feel more like it is the truth. That is, this Titans team, what I said to my dad this weekend, they're just like the Titans were when I was a kid. They're right there with everybody else. They're right there with Rich Gannon in Oakland. They're right there with Jerome Bettis and the Steelers. They're right there with Tom Brady and the Patriots. They're right there with the Indianapolis Colts. All those teams were together for about a 5-year period, and the Titans are right there, and the Titans were right there then and made it to 1 Super Bowl, 2 AFC championship games, 2 divisional rounds in a 5-year period, and that's what this Titans team is. And that's why every year, no matter all the changes in the offseason, quarterbacks and draft picks and A.J. Brown and everything, and it is still the Titans, the Chiefs, and the Bills. And I know Miami's new to the club, and last year it was
Don't count out the Ravens.
Yeah, but they weren't there last year. It's like Ravens are on the fringe here. They're not in the club. Titans, Chiefs, Bills, and then a revolving door everybody else. It's like the 90s in the NFC, where it was Dallas, Green Bay, San Francisco. And everybody else, you know, the Giants were in there a little bit, and but it was always Dallas, San Francisco, and Green Bay. That's my thought. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Your thoughts on, again, Phil Simms saying they can win the AFC and they can do it on the road. And, I mean, those are some big words from Phil Simms. Stillman & Company, 615-737-1025. And here's the other element. There's a completely different element that nobody's talking about that we saw Thursday night. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville. Join 1025 and 1063 The Game for the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton tonight at 6 o'clock, live from 6th and Peabody. The Eddie George Show is brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander gives you more options. More options means more savings for you. Free quote at xanderinsurance.com.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Ed Lee's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
They say a good craftsman never blames their tools, and the best always choose the right one for the job. For the builders and makers of this world, nothing beats knowing you've got what you need to get the project done. Northern Tool is a problem solver's paradise. Hurry in now to catch our Black Friday deals, where we have the perfect gift for every solver in your life, from names like Honda, Milwaukee, and Lincoln Electric. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend, and you'll get a a free mini projector or big horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this, spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. This Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
I'm going to start with Tennessee. Everybody wants to go on Rodgers, and we'll get to that. But let's start with Tennessee. I thought Tannehill played very well last night. They had some spirit. They had enthusiasm. Vrabel's a very good coach. They're helped by a bad division. Now, they get Jacksonville and Houston 4 games every year, so that does help them some. But, I mean, he's been competitive. He was competitive in Kansas City. Good win last night. They win. They make the playoffs every year. And, you know, he's a Hall of Fame running back. I mean, I don't know if they have enough weapons in a big game on the road in the month of January, but I tell you, they're dangerous, Phil. And Tannehill's played well. He had a good game last night. I was impressed with him.
There you go. That was Mad Dog Russo on Mad Dog Unleashed on Mad Dog Radio. So everybody's buying the Titans. I was even watching Skip and Shannon today. And, you know, that basically is like a cowboy show. They talk about the Cowboys as much as we talk about the Titans.
Play the hits.
And Skip Bayless was talking about how he thinks the Cowboys can win all the rest of their games. And, I mean, honestly, they've got some wagons. Like, they've got the Giants this week. They've got the Eagles in a couple of weeks. They've got the Titans. And I want to say there's one other good team in there. But, you know, that's just how they are. And they were going over all the games, and they were like, and then there's that Thursday nighter at Tennessee. And Skip was like, which I think, honestly, might be the hardest game for them to win. And Shannon was like, better have your big boy pants on for that one. You know, so everybody is giving the Titans their due. And here's the other part, too, that nobody's talking about. And I thought that Mad Dog Russo cut really summed up, you know, kind of what everybody thinks about the Titans right now, which is they're good every year. They compete really hard. Vrabel is an excellent coach. And now you can't dump on Tannehill because he just threw for 330 yards against the Packers. Traylon Burks. You know, we've dogged the A.J. trade a lot. And I'm not sitting here telling you that the A.J. trade was now all good because Traylon Burks had 100 yards the other night, 50 of which came on one play after the game was already over. But if Traylon Burks wants to start showing up with 100-yard games out here, I think a lot of things about this football team change. Like, I think a lot of things about this football team and its ability, again, because you heard what Mad Dog said right there, which was Mad Dog's like, I don't know if they have the weapons in January to go on the road and win a playoff game. Kansas City or Buffalo. But if you've got Traylon Burks out there catching for 111 yards, because what he did on Thursday night is exactly what Jeffrey Simmons does for the defensive line, which is when Jeffrey's in the number 1 seat, then Danico Autry gets to be in the number 2 seat. And Danico is a great number 2. I mean, and I think they're going to miss Danico Autry a lot, by the way, which is something that, hopefully Danico Autry feels better because I love Danico Autry. But Danico Autry is the perfect number 2, and Tier Tart is the perfect number 3. And then DeMarcus Walker and Kevin Strong and Mario Edwards, those guys are like all perfect guys that rotate in certain things. If you've got to ask Rashad Weaver to play every snap, including running plays, you're going to hate Rashad Weaver. But if you only ask Rashad Weaver to come in the game on 3rd and 11 and he goes right at the quarterback, you're going to love Rashad Weaver. So
because
Simmons,
that's all they ask these players to do is just do your job.
Oh, yeah. It's like Derrick Henry with the running backs. If Hilliard is great at what Hilliard is asked to do. And so that's where I go back to Burks, which is on Thursday night. Burks was the deep threat. He caught the deep ball early. He caught the deep ball late. And the other catches were good. But, the 2 deep balls, Burks was the deep ball guy that really spread out the defense. And then all of a sudden, here's Robert Woods underneath in the zone, making all these catches and turning around and gaining 8 yards here and 9 yards there. And 3rd down and 6, Robert Woods gets 8. And then he had the one big gain over the middle. And now it's a 3rd down, and there's Hooper making a couple of catches. He's not going to make 10 catches in a game, but there's Hooper making 3 or 4 catches. And now you get in the red zone, and it's like, oh, God. They've thrown it short to Woods. They've thrown it in the red zone to Hooper. They got Hilliard that leads the team in touchdown catches. I mean, that is exact like Traylon Burks. That is exactly what they need. They need a number 1 receiver, and I'm not saying he is a number 1 receiver yet. I'm just saying if Traylon Burks decides he wants to be the number 1 receiver and starts playing like the number 1 receiver like he did Thursday, now we're talking about a totally different team.
Well, that's what we've been saying all season long is imagine how good this offense would be, how good this team would be if they had A.J. Brown.
We weren't doing a lot of imagining that Traylon Burks could go out there and have 111 yards.
No, but I'm saying if Traylon Burks does go out there and have 100-plus yard games, well, then that's the A.J. Brown production that we've been talking about that this team needs or this team has been missing all season long.
And then they're right there.
They're right there, and I've
City,
said it, and I'll reiterate
and right there
it.
with Buffalo.
If this team had A.J. Brown, this team would be a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Well, if Traylon Burks wants to catch for...
And if Traylon Burks wants to be A.J. Brown, if Traylon Burks wants to be what this team drafted him to be, the replacement for A.J. Brown, then this team is a Super Bowl contender.
Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. I think they're already a Super Bowl contender now, but let's go to your phones.
Feel better about it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would feel better about it, too, like if all of a sudden, Deion Sanders unretired and the Titans put him at corner. I mean, but I am with you. I do think it makes them incredibly more dynamic. Let's go to your phones. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
Andrew Texan says, with our exceptional defense and how disciplined the Titans are, I think we would absolutely destroy the Ravens this year. Lamar only excels with an undisciplined D.
So I did watch a little First Take today. And I guess Stephen A. was yelling and screaming about the Ravens, and Keyshawn Johnson was arguing with him. And honestly, I didn't even find it compelling. But, I mean, all I know is when I was watching Red Zone, they kept flipping back to Carolina, and Carolina and the Ravens were knotted up the whole time. And that's embarrassing because Carolina freaking stinks. And not only that, did you see who's starting a quarterback for Carolina this week?
I did, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Uh-huh. So I think this is their 4th starter this year, 3rd starter. That place is a mess. That owner's a kook. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says Tannehill over any other quarterback in the league right now. He is perfect for this team. Look at these other quarterbacks with
all right,
no
let's not
one
get
to
stupid.
throw to.
Let's not get stupid.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, come on, Texter. Let's not get stupid here.
I mean,
I'll
you're
take
going to
Josh
take Tannehill
Allen
over Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
That's fine if you want that. Not for me.
I mean, let's just look at all the teams that we consider to be contenders, right?
The Bills.
Tannehill or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Tannehill or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Tannehill or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
Tannehill or Tua Tagovailoa?
Oh, probably Tannehill.
Tannehill or Kirk Cousins?
Probably Tannehill.
Tannehill or Dak Prescott?
Dak.
See, I'd rather have Tannehill.
I'd take Dak.
I think Dak is so overrated. I'd rather have Tannehill, and I think I'd rather have Cousins over Dak too. Even though I know that Dak won the game last week, I mean, I still that's not a. It's like Tannehill beat Aaron Rodgers last week. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. Tannehill or Brady?
Brady.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there
Yes.
that are certainly ahead of Tannehill. But I do, and I don't watch the Cowboys as much as the Cowboys are on TV. I do think I'd rather have Tannehill over Dak. 615-737-1025. We will get back into your phones. I have a thought. Actually, it's not that I don't have a thought on last night's Preds game. I need to know how I should feel about last night's Preds game, because they did win. But a 7-round shootout against that team, we will discuss. Stillman and Company. Caroline, what's to tell you about the Caesar Sportsbook app?
Yep, it is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. Now remember, your first bet with the Caesar Sportsbook app is on Caesars, up to $1,250. Just sign up using the promo code RADIOFULL, one word RADIOFULL, and then place your first bet. And if you win, enjoy that money. It is all yours. But if not, don't worry about it, because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you need something to place that first bet on, look at some World Cup odds. Now, Brazil is the favorite to win the World Cup. They lead the way with almost 19% of all of the tickets on the Caesar Sportsbook app. The second most is Argentina. Pretty tough if you put some money on Argentina, since they just got beat yesterday. But you look at the rest of the parlays, rest of the favorites on the World Cup, just do it with the Caesar Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text at Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025, The Game.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks Man Cards are the perfect gifts for the sports fans on your list. Swing by Twin Peaks to purchase your gift cards today and get a little something in return. Offer available at participating restaurants.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
He moves in, and he scores. Cody Glass moved in, lifted it up over Ingram. So now the Predators have a 4-3 lead in the shootout. He comes into the zone, curls back. His shot stopped it, and the Predators win the shootout 4-3. And folks, now it's official. You can head for your Frosties.
There you go. The Predators in a 7-round shootout last night beat the Arizona Coyotes, and they got the win. The Predators have won 3 of their last 4, and they did get a point on Saturday night against Tampa Bay, who is good, even though they got creamed last night by Boston. But I need to know how to feel about last night's hockey game. Because that Arizona team, I'll just be honest with you people out there. I texted Adam Vingan last night. After we did the show, I left the arena and I came home. And so I was working out, watching the game. And after about 10 minutes of the game, I texted Adam Vingan. And I said, the Arizona Coyotes are worse at hockey than the Houston Texans are at football. It is atrocious that team, like, it's a shame that team is a National Hockey League team. Like, it is embarrassing that they sold that franchise to that team, to that ownership group that has them playing in a college hockey arena this year, and they've got no good players.
Temporarily.
Yeah, but do they even have, like, the plans for a stadium?
I have no idea.
I don't think they do. But they have no fan support. They have no players. They got the one guy, Clayton Keller. Mm-hmm. You know, he's the one guy they've got. That team sucks. They're not even trying. I said to somebody last night, the Nashville Sounds have more major league level players than that Arizona Coyotes team did yesterday. Jeez. Connor Ingram is the perfect level goalie for that team, which is not good enough to be in the NHL. I mean, and not only that, Connor Ingram, he stinks. Last night, did you see the Cody Glass goal in the shootout?
I did, yeah.
He made the initial save and just didn't know where the puck was, and it just slid in. Like, and he stinks.
And for a minute, I was like, wait, was that a goal?
Oh,
did the puck just go in?
A 7-round shootout with that team. But then on the other hand, they won. So, I ask you and everybody else this. How do we feel about the Predators game last night? Are we embarrassed that this team had to go to a 7-round shootout with Arizona and that, quite frankly, honestly, a lot of the play has left a lot to be desired? Or are we like, hey, it's a win's a win, and it's U.S. Thanksgiving in 2 days, and they got to get these points however they get them, and so a win's a win. How do we feel?
And that's what I tweeted out of the game last night was, look, you could do pros and cons. Pro, a win's a win. Points are points. Take the points where you can get them. Con, just went to a shootout with the crummy, crappy, stinky, maybe probably worst team in the league, Arizona Coyotes. Where it stands right now, I have to lean a little bit of, look, points are points. You need points. We are 2 days away from U.S. Thanksgiving. Pick up the points where you can get them. It was gross. It was so gross. But you got the points. It doesn't make me feel incredibly confident about this team moving forward, that it took this much effort to beat a truly awful team, but you still got the points.
Ian, do you think that last night's game was good for the Predators that they got their points, or bad that it was that close against that team?
Well, I mean, I tend to agree a little bit with Carolina at this point in the season. Like, it's just too early. You know, you just gotta find ways to rack up points. It doesn't matter if it's ugly, if it's pretty, if it's high scoring, low scoring. I think they're kind of in the grind of the season, and I think they just got to get points. And if you get a point, Granted, it's against Arizona. It's probably kind of a trap game, but I think it was good to just get the points.
Oh my God, I think you guys are crazy.
Why?
Because I think, look,
I mean, there's going to be games like that in an 82-game season.
I know, but it's not like the Predators have been knocking everybody's boots off, and then all of a sudden,
Which is exactly why I will take the points where you can get them.
But they beat the Islanders, good team. Kind of blew the game against Tampa. Probably could have easily won that game.
We don't give credit for almost winning.
And then there's one other game I'm missing in there. I guess the game before the Islanders game or the Rangers game.
Rangers game.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're beating some decent teams here. It's not like they're...
They beat Halak. It wasn't like they beat Shesterkin when
You
they
get
played
the
the Rangers.
same number of points regardless of who's in net.
I know, but the reality is that this team's not very good. Last night they got a power play with 2:30 to go in overtime, so they're 4-on-3 and nothing against Connor Ingram and that crap team. I watched Jeremy Lozon last night. This guy... David Poyle, with a straight face, said to everybody when they acquired him that he was everybody they traded for him. Everyone's like, why? No. You don't understand. Then they signed him, and everybody was like,
why?
And they were like, no. You only saw him for 13 games. You don't understand. There was one point where the puck came up to his stick. 13 games is an itty-bitty
sample size.
Or like the other games that he played in the league don't count.
Right.
So the puck's on his stick. This was early in the game. The puck is on his stick, and he's at the point, and I don't think the Predators are on the power play at this point, but the puck's on his stick at the right point, and all of a sudden, an Arizona forward just comes within the vicinity of him, and he's like, oh, and he's trying to get rid of the puck, and instead he turns it over. And I'm like, God, where do you find these guys? And it's like, oh, it's a second-round pick. The Predators went to the power play with 2:30 to go. 2:30 to go in overtime. 4-on-3 power play. With a power play that is honestly worth $50 million. And so they put their $50 million power play out there against the Arizona Coyotes, whose entire team might not make $50 million. And the Predators can't score. And they have a power play coach.
They definitely should have ended the game there. Tampa, it took them 14 or 16 seconds in overtime the other day. Boom, right to Stamkos. And, a lot of legit teams end the game on that.
Let's add this up.
It's not like the power play hasn't been a point of concern for this team.
So Yossi makes $9 million. Forsberg makes what, 8?
And 8.5?
I think 8.5.
Between 8 and 8.5.
Okay, let's just say 8.5. Duchesne makes 8. Granlund makes 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only 4. So I think it was Johansson or Granlund at the end. I can't remember. It was either one of the two.
They played 2 defensemen at the end?
No.
Oh, that's right. There's only 4. You're right. Yeah. There's only 4 out there. So you're talking about a $30 million power play. A $30 million power play against that Arizona team. But hey, it is what it is. They're still pretty deep in the standings. I'm trying to find one of these playoff picture things where they just tell me who's in and who's out as opposed to
it's going to be it's going to be a dogfight to the end again. At the bottom, the last few spots. St. Louis has lost 7 in a row, and then they've won 8 in a row or something like that, so they're right back in it. The Preds are kind of hovering right there, right around the 500, right around there.
Here's the thing right now is that if the playoffs were today, I don't think the Predators are in, but I think the Predators are right there because just looking at the standings, St. Louis would go. They've got a game in hand on the Predators, and they're one up in the row.
They each are at 20 points, but yeah, the Blues have a game in hand.
Yeah,
and Calgary has a game in hand, and they've got 20 points, but they're down one, or they're tied in the row. But Edmonton, has played as many games, but they are 9 in the row. The Predators are 7 in the row. So,
it's going to come down to the end again. Between Minnesota, Nashville, Edmonton, Calgary, St. Louis, Seattle, Winnipeg. Do they drop off? Do the Kings keep going? It's going to come down to it's going to be interesting.
Just enough for nobody to get fired.
And what's happened with the Wild?
Just enough for nothing to change.
They've been dealing with a lot of salary cap issues based on some bad contracts. So they've lost some players. Mm-hmm. And Fleury is, lost a half a step in goal.
I mean, I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, it was melting down. The Predators beat the Rangers and the Islanders, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, right back to right where they've always been.
It's Groundhog Day all over again.
It is Groundhog Day all over again. They'll probably trade for another Jeremy Lozon at the trade deadline this year, and then we'll ask why they did that. So then we'll take the heat off of Lozon because they'll trade for the new Lozon, and then we'll be mad at him for being Lozon.
I'm looking at this playoff outlook. It's playoffstatus.com, so how much you want to.
How'd you find that?
I Googled NHL playoff picture.
Okay.
And Predators 57% chance at no playoffs.
Let me say this.
It's going to be right
I'm going to be honest with everybody out there. If my choice is making the playoffs and getting drilled in the first round or not making the playoffs and people get fired, I vote the latter.
I think a lot of Predators fans would probably vote the latter as well.
Put me in the lottery, fire some people, and let's go forward. And I think they should fire some assistant coaches at least. At least show us that this power play is a joke and get a new power play coach or something. But again, I already know people are going to be like, hey, I told somebody last night after watching the first 10 minutes, I'm like, the Predators are going to win this game 4-0 because that Arizona team is terrible. And it went to a 7-round shootout. So add that in there. We'll get back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Hey, the NFL game of the week for us right here on 1025 and 1063. The game is on Thursday. That's right. Tune into the game of the week. This week's game will feature the Giants and the Cowboys at 3:30. The NFL game of the week is brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and Superbook Sports. Go to the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Cold temperatures this morning, not quite as cold as yesterday. In the afternoon, a little bit warmer. Going in toward the middle of the day, we'll see temperatures that will be in the middle 50s and partly cloudy. No rain until Thanksgiving.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. I don't know about you guys, but I love this time of year. I get to see all the beautiful fall colors, the fantastic weather. We're getting deeper into football season. It's just a reminder that we have so much to be thankful for. And while the automotive industry has been a bit of a roller coaster, we are still so thankful to serve the local community. We love being able to partner with local schools and organizations. We're also so thankful that we've earned business not only from our local communities, but from places all across the United States. The response from customers far and wide is, "This was so amazing. I've never had a car buying experience like this." Check out our reviews online to see for yourself. So no matter if you're in the market for a new car, looking to sell your car, or even service your car, come find out why Newton is different. Change your experience. Come see us in store or visit us online at newtonfordsouth.com.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend, and you'll get a free mini projector or big horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this, spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. This Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Bavarian Beer House at Opry Mills. Bavarian Beer House, Nashville's only authentic German beer hall, is full of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst, schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more in an Oktoberfest-inspired space. Visit BeerHouseNashville.com for their live music schedule. Get a $50 gift card for half off right now at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company here on a very, what is this, Thanksgiving Eve. Be excited about that. Hey, be sure to join the postgame show this Sunday following the Titans game with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow, live from the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. The postgame show is brought to you by Renters Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford. Superbook Sports voted the number one sports book in Vegas. Download their app today. Phones, what do we have?
Brandy Texan says, Jared being over dramatic about a game in November, color me shocked. Points are points, and there's always games like these.
Okay, so Robbie Stanley texted me about the Predators and said that I need to Google Connor Bedard. And he said, if this is a year for the Predators to stink, this is it, but they won't. And here's what I find frustrating. I have no idea if this Connor Bedard is the next Connor McDavid. I don't know.
That's the hype.
That's what Robbie's making it sound like. I would literally do everything in my power to get that guy.
I think that's what Arizona and Chicago are both planning on doing.
I don't think Arizona's trying to do it. I think Arizona I think they have bad
Maybe
ownership
they're just
that
that
takes the
bad.
free money. I think Chicago's trying to do it.
Yes.
I mean, we know what the Predators are, right? Like, we know they're not very good, right?
The Predators are this year what I think they've been the past few years. And that
But those
is
teams,
good enough, but not good enough.
I mean, they're nothing more than they were last year, and they might be worse.
I don't think they're worse.
I don't think they're better.
But that's the frustrating thing.
They're 29th in the league on the power play.
They're not worse, but they're not better. It's
I think they are.
Groundhog
I
Day.
think they are legitimately worse than they were last year.
In what way? Just
The
their
fact
best
that-
players aren't playing as well?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I have no hope. I have no hope with this team. I have no hope with this franchise. I have no hope with this general manager. I have no hope with this coach. I have no hope.
I think that you don't have hope in the general manager, and everything else is a trickle-down effect.
I mean, I don't think anybody has hope in the general manager.
I don't know if anybody has hope in the general
Do
manager.
you think people have hope in the general manager?
I do.
You saw
I
the
do.
Adam
I
Vingan
do
poll.
think that there are people out there that have hope in David Poyle.
Who?
Yes. Do I agree with them? No.
Who?
Fans?
What was it? 83% in the Adam Vingan poll?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So that whatever the opposite of 83, what is the opposite of 83? 17? 17. No, I think it was 12.5% were like in favor of David Poyle.
And then there was like
12.5%.
a small percentage that was like, it's not in favor, not against. Just let's just keep rolling like we've been rolling.
I mean, look, Brandy on the text line. If you want to have your hope, have your hope. What's next?
Kyle Texan says it is so frustrating to watch this team year after year just make the playoffs only to lose in the first round. We have no clear direction and are content with a silly playoff streak.
I legitimately did not watch the post-game show on TV last night because I knew that if I did, it would set me off, so I didn't watch it. Like, I knew that if I watched the post-game show and I watched them talk about how that was a good, tough, gutty 7-round shootout victory against that crap team, that I was going to freaking, I know how those things affect me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know, like, it's the team's broadcast. So, like, it's going to be that way. And that's every team across the league in all sports. That's how it is. Unless there's a really old person that has been doing it for forever and it is grandfathered in, that they can say whatever they want. Every single team across sports is always lollipops. So,
But I think the game last night and the playoff picture are two different stories.
Oh, I think they're the same.
Why?
Because I think that they tell a picture that doesn't exist. They tell a picture of success. They tell a picture of things that people should be excited about.
You think going to a shootout with Arizona Coyotes show success?
We won! At the end of the day, we won.
Which is true. You pick up points where you can get them.
And
But I don't think anybody feels confident about this team, considering the process
You
of
cannot
last
give
night.
this organization any gray area. If there is a silver lining to be found, it will be found. And that's the frustrating part, is we know this general manager hadn't made a good move in years. And I think, I was talking to somebody who works in the league yesterday, not at the league, but works in the league. And we were talking about Hines. And I was like, yeah, I think the guy's not a very good coach. And I was expecting the pushback that we hear from everybody when it comes to Hines, oh, no, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. And the person inside the league was like, yeah, no. And I was like, really? He's like, no. He's like, there's this weird Boston connection with the Predators and this USA hockey thing. And that's why the Predators, are what they are with that. But I go back to the silver linings, and if there is a silver lining to be found, it's like last night they go to a 7-round shootout with this team that literally at the start of the game, within 5 minutes, I'm like, this team is as bad at hockey as the Texans are at football. And they win a 7-round shootout, and because they won, there will be a narrative that is, they won! It doesn't matter how hard it was. It doesn't matter how many power plays they blew. It doesn't matter that the guy who was in net for them wasn't good enough to be the backup here. It doesn't matter. They won. And it's like if they make the playoffs, it'll be the same thing, which is it doesn't matter that they have no chance to beat the good teams in the playoffs. It doesn't matter that they'll get smoked in 4 or 5 games. It doesn't matter that they haven't won a playoff series since Mike Vrabel's been the coach of the Titans. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That might be the narrative inside the building, but I think a lot of fans are getting really, really sick and tired of that, of making the playoffs, getting bounced in the first round, and having no shot at competing with the good teams in the league.
Who makes the decisions on if that changes?
It's
are
inside.
They inside the building or are they outside the
It's
building?
inside the building. But
And
I think that
that's-
you are going to see a lot of really frustrated and lethargic fans when this continues to be the narrative.
Do
for the
we
team.
not? I mean, I'm speaking for me. Do we not already have that now?
We do, but you're going to see it happen even more and more the more that it happens.
I mean, this is what I've resigned myself to. We just have to wait until Bill Haslam takes over the team. And then we have to hope that Bill Haslam gets tired of losing and wants to fire people. That's the only thing that and what is that, 3 years from now?
I believe so, yeah.
So that's how I feel. And by then, 3 years from now, the team will have more first-round draft choices that they've whiffed on. They'll have more young guys that they sell us on that aren't any good, like Carrier and Lozon, and Tomasino will still probably be at Milwaukee because, he'll only be 24, so he'll still be young. I talked to somebody yesterday who played in the league at 18. People are sitting there talking about how, oh, well, Tomasino's 21, so keep him down there. Okay, fine. So, maybe I'm wrong. But that's how I feel.
I kind of feel the same way about Juuso Parssinen. I don't want to take anything away from what he's done, but I feel like all of the commentary that I have heard about him has been, oh my gosh, he is so wise beyond his years. The fact that he's able to come and produce at the NHL level at this age, he's 21.
I think he's the best forward on the team right now.
He's no spring chicken. I mean, I know 21 is young, but let's be FFR. There's 19-year-olds in this league.
I think he's the best young forward. I think he's the best young forward on this team. I think right now he's playing like the best forward they've got, which is sad.
He's a good player. Absolutely. I don't want to take anything away from him, but let's
gonna
pump
hit
the
a wall
brakes
soon.
on. Oh my God.
He's
an infant.
We've seen this. I mean, we saw Ellie Tolvanen carry this team to the playoffs 2 years ago, so anything's possible. But I mean, boy, I tell you. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. They just sold out the Vanderbilt-Tennessee game. I did not know that game was not sold out already. I mean, Tennessee's having a season for the ages, and that game wasn't sold out?
Maybe like Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when people were trying to buy tickets to this game, the Vols fans, that is, a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago when they were planning on it, tickets were not cheap.
Even face value?
Face value tickets for a Vanderbilt game against Tennessee, you think those are available?
No, they clearly were. Vanderbilt just said that they just sold out.
Well, maybe, but I just know that I knew of people trying to find tickets to that game a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were expensive, and they just wanted to get in so they could see the Vols in this historic season.
Well, there's probably a lot of Tennessee fans that sold those tickets, and Vanderbilt fans are snatching them up.
After the loss, who knows how the ticket market has changed.
So I got a theory on this game. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime.
Touchdown, Tennessee. We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3, 9.
This is the drive to the playoffs, brought to you by Coleman Tractor on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game in the Game Nashville app.
After a day off on Monday, your Tennessee Titans are back to practice on Tuesday, preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The likes of Elijah Molden, Amani Hooker, and Bud Dupree returned to the field prepping for the matchup. Ryan Tannehill met with the media, prior to practice, and here's what he had to say about his offense improving.
Almost half this team wasn't here from last year. This team kind of got off to a slow start. How much do you feel like that you guys are starting to trend in the right direction and starting to get back to what you had last year, where it's finding a way to win no matter what?
Yeah, I think we've done some good things, and still have a lot of room to improve. So that's the goal each and every day as we come out here and find a way to improve, whether it's mentally, physically, in your preparation, in your recovery. And then ultimately you got to find a way to win games. And I think we've done that over the course of the past 7 or 8 weeks, and definitely is going to be the number one thing as we move forward.
Kickoff against the Bengals is set for noon. The Titans have not seen the Bengals since their disappointing wild card loss to them last season. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Nick Keyser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stone and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. So here's the email that I just got from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt football, the 117th Vanderbilt-Tennessee game is sold out for immediate release. Vanderbilt-Tennessee game sold out for kickoff at First Bank Stadium at 6:30 on SEC Network. Vanderbilt Athletics announced that Saturday's football game versus Tennessee is sold out. Fans looking to purchase tickets should visit the secondary marketplaces. Now, I didn't say which ones they were because no free shout-outs, but it includes in the release. As previously announced, tailgate parking lots are also sold out. So they've already announced ahead of time that the parking lots were sold out. So that now the tickets, the actual tickets, first-hand tickets, are sold out. I'm going to tell you who that looks bad on. Who do you think that looks bad on?
I don't know.
It looks bad on Tennessee.
Why?
You're having the season for the ages, and your fans didn't buy up all the Vandy tickets from, the official, Vandy tickets, the first-hand tickets? You all didn't buy up the first-hand tickets? Really?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm a Tennessee fan, and I'm, after the first few weeks, and I'm thinking, man, I cannot wait to go to a Tennessee game. I don't know if I'm circling the Vanderbilt game to be the one game that I go to.
If you're a Tennessee fan and you live in Nashville,
I would go to that game, yeah.
Okay. That's embarrassing. Now, let's get to the second part of this, which is, I don't think Tennessee's going to lose to Vanderbilt on Saturday, but I didn't think Tennessee was going to give up 63 points and lose to South Carolina last Saturday. So I know there's a lot of Vanderbilt fans out there that think, okay, Vanderbilt's won a couple in a row. Vanderbilt, looks like a real team. They just beat Florida. Now we're on the upswing, and Tennessee is on the downswing, and this is the week that we're going to beat them. I know that that's probably how some Vandy fans are feeling. And Tennessee fans are probably a little disappointed given what happened last week and the fact that Joe Milton is in there instead of Hendon Hooker.
A little disappointed?
So I think, that's Tennessee is probably feeling down here and Vanderbilt's feeling up here. But let me just say one thing. If Tennessee loses this game on Saturday, it will all but eliminate any chance they have at a New Year's Six Bowl. If they do not go to a New Year's Six Bowl this year, even the Cotton Bowl, which I know the Cotton and the Peach Bowl technically count as much as the other bowls, but I just don't view the Cotton and the Peach Bowl as much as I view the Sugar Bowl or the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But even if they go to the Cotton Bowl, that's at least something. If they lose this game to Vanderbilt, everything that you thought they earned this season is out the window. They will literally have nothing to show for this season. They don't make banners that you hang up at the stadium that said, "We beat Alabama." Those don't exist. Just ask Texas A&M. That's not a thing. So if Tennessee does not win this game on Saturday, and I think they're going to win, but if they do not win this game on Saturday, then that dream season that we have spent all year watching every week, and I even admitted that I took the cheese on it, and I have nobody to blame but myself for that because I have watched Tennessee football my whole life, and I should have expected a massive crash landing at some point. I just didn't think it was going to be the Spencer Rattler, but apparently it was. But they will have accomplished nothing this year if they lose on Saturday.
I mean,
do you know how crazy that is?
And the sad thing is, too, the fact that we're even having a conversation that there is a legitimate possibility that Tennessee could lose to Vanderbilt on Saturday. That's really sad. And I'm with you. I don't think Tennessee is going to lose to Vanderbilt. I still think that even with Joe Milton, I still think Tennessee's a better team. But, I mean, the fact that Vanderbilt's red hot and Tennessee very much so is not, and without their starting quarterback, I mean, it's a legitimate conversation that we can have. And a few weeks ago, Tennessee fans were spreading on Twitter about checkering Vandy.
They didn't even buy all the tickets.
What a freaking fall from grace that is.
They didn't even buy all the tickets.
And what a
They're
shame.
talking about checkering Vandy, and they didn't even buy all the tickets.
I mean, it is a shame.
How can you do that if you don't buy the tickets? How can Tennessee fans be sitting there talking about checkering Vandy if they didn't buy all the tickets to the Vandy game?
I don't know.
Tennessee
but they've
fans,
been talking
boy,
about
I
it for
tell
a
you,
long time.
Tennessee fans are really loud, but they may not be as strong as they act because the fact that they didn't sell out that Vandy game, that's embarrassing. But I go back to this, which is everything that they have worked for this season. This season means nothing if they lose Saturday.
No.
Nothing.
No, it doesn't.
There's nothing good that happened this year if they lose. There is nothing. There is no hat to wear.
And Tennessee fans,
there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And not only is there nothing, but Tennessee fans will then try to figure out ways to try to explain how it really was something when in reality it was nothing.
And I mean, Tennessee fans all day long can take their own moral victories away from this and say, we beat Bama. We were number one in the country for a week.
Nobody cares about that.
You take whatever moral victories you want. If you, as a Tennessee fan, if you want to have your own personal mementos in your, on your in your man cave, do it all you want. If you want to have a 52 to 49
that says,
plaque.
We beat Alabama?
Yes. You can do that if you want.
That is so sad.
You can do that if you want.
That is sad.
But just know that nobody else in America cares.
Nobody.
And this team was too good
You'll get
for nobody in America to care about it.
If you celebrate
this
team, if this Tennessee team does not win Saturday and does not go to a good bowl, like does not go to a New Year's Six bowl, there is nothing to celebrate. And if you celebrate it, you will be laughed at. In fact, I don't even think Hendon Hooker's getting invited to New York. There will be nothing to celebrate. And if you do celebrate, you will be laughed at. So I hope that the Tennessee players can find their way to usher in some peace over Thanksgiving in the locker room and not getting any fights and anybody get suspended and them not lose to Vandy. I hope they can find a way. I hope for their sake, for Tennessee fans' sake, of wanting to buy a sweatshirt or travel to a meaningful bowl game and not be sent to, what was that bowl that Brett McMurphy said Florida's in next week? The Reala Bowl or whatever?
I don't know.
The Reality Bowl or whatever the hell it's called.
What is the Reality Bowl?
Not to be. That's what they said Florida's in. The Reality Bowl or Reality or I don't know. It's a made-up bowl game I've never heard of.
Well, if it's the Reality Bowl, it's clearly not made up.
Don't be sent there. Like, don't go there. Because if you do, there's nothing good. There will be no difference in your season this year. There's no difference between your season and Arkansas' season this year if you lose this game on Saturday. No difference.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
What is Arkansas's record right now?
Arkansas beat Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That's just as good of a win as Bama.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. And you know that good and well.
No, right now the SEC has 5 teams that are like on the cusp of the New Year's Six. And it is Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss.
Arkansas
And
6-5.
Arkansas 6-5?
Yes.
Same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's absolutely the same thing.
No, it is not.
It's just like Kentucky.
And a win over Ole Miss is not the same thing as a win over Alabama.
Oh,
if you want to argue about analytics and records, that's fine.
It's not arguing about analytics.
The sentimental.
I am talking about being able to take something away and hang something up to celebrate your season. There is nothing about Arkansas' season to be hung up.
No.
There is nothing about Kentucky's season to be hung up. There is nothing about any of these seasons. None of that matters. The sentimental value of beating your rival only matters to you. It doesn't matter to anybody else. And so that is it. Like that, they're not hanging a banner at Vanderbilt if they win this game on Saturday. Though I think technically they are, because wouldn't that make Vandy Bowl eligible?
Yes.
So at least Vanderbilt can get something out of it by winning. But Tennessee, you get nothing out of this season if you lose. Nothing. So I hope you win. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. And I could not get over this whole not selling all the tickets at Vanderbilt. How did that happen? How did they not sell all the tickets? 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company, right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Be sure to tune into the college football game of the week. That's right, which is always right here on 102.5 The Game. The college football game of the week, MTSU, Florida International, Saturday at 5 o'clock. The college football game of the week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download their app today. Dabo Swinney turning the knife a little bit at Tennessee. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug, or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend, and you'll get a free mini projector or big horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this, spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. This Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas. Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
They're like, okay, we beat South Carolina, we beat Vandy. They're in the playoffs. You know, they're flipping burgers at the house, you know, having a cold drink, you know, watching the championship weekend. What are we? Are we 3 or 4? Where are we going? You know, are we in Arizona? Are we in Atlanta? And next thing you know, you get in that, you forget you got to go play. And but man, I think you just got to give all the credit to South Carolina. I think they just flat out kicked their butt. They showed up. They executed incredibly well. And man, Rattler, I mean, he was hot, and those receivers were hot.
Dabo on his coach's show last night. Tennessee, if they win these 2 games against these bad teams, they're at home flipping burgers and drinking a cold drink. And instead, they out. And Dabo not only did that on the coach's show, he also took a crack at Tennessee and said, quote, Tennessee is not built defensively. They're built to outscore people. Also said that Spencer Rattler had a day and a half in the pocket to be able to throw the ball. AKA,
of course he said that.
We're not going to let him do that this Saturday.
He's pumping up South Carolina's tires. He knows
Any
exactly
problem with what
he's
Dabo
doing.
said?
No.
You know why I don't have a problem with it?
Because it's true.
All of it's true. All of it's true. Tennessee overlooked South Carolina. That's why they allegedly got in that fight in the locker room during the week, and Jeremy Banks got suspended, and all of a sudden they didn't show up on Saturday. Dabo's right. Their defense is not very good. It's built to outscore people. We already knew that. And Spencer Rattler did have all day in the pocket. So don't be mad at Dabo because he's telling you the truth.
I'm mad at Dabo. I'm just saying I find it very
Truth
convenient
hurts.
that he can pump up the tires of Spencer Rattler the week that Clemson plays Spencer Rattler and the Gamecocks.
I mean, he's got to do that. But at the same time, don't be mad at Dabo because you went out there and sucked on Saturday. Don't be mad at Dabo Sweeney. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. I am still bothered by the fact that Tennessee didn't buy up all those Vandy tickets.
Why are you so bothered by that?
Because, like, if you matter as much as you say you matter, like Tennessee fans do, you buy those tickets. There shouldn't be a ticket to be found.
I'm surprised that was the case. Are we not surprised that those were not sold out?
I'm shocked.
I mean, I'm surprised that I assumed
Something
that
sounds
it
fishy.
would be sold out. I mean, did they just sell out, or did you get an email saying that it is sold out?
No, it literally was. Vanderbilt has officially sold out. As we've already said, the parking has been sold out, but now we have officially sold out.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised.
I have one theory. In order to buy individual tickets to this game, you had to buy like a package that included other games. And now that there are no other games, it is like, you know.
That's a fair theory.
Yeah.
But I'm not assuming that theory is true. I'm just throwing that theory out there as a theory.
And it's also Thanksgiving weekend. And
That
I understand
is
that there are a lot of
acceptable.
Why?
Because if you have a good fan base, your fan base goes on Thanksgiving weekend.
I know.
Your fan base buys tickets on you think Kentucky basketball? Where's Kentucky basketball playing? What are they, like in Cancun or something right now? They probably sell that out of Kentucky fans over Thanksgiving that are traveling to Cancun just to watch the Cats. Like, that's just I can't get over it. I can't. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Now, Vanderbilt hoarded the tickets and said you have to buy season tickets in order to buy these, then maybe
Or if
explains
Vanderbilt
a little bit,
ticket
but
holders weren't willing to sell tickets to Tennessee fans, which I feel like there's probably some harbored resentment there.
that has nothing
be the case.
to do. That has nothing to do with the individual game tickets. The first-hand tickets have nothing to do with individual Vandy ticket holders. They have everything to do with Not enough people went to the box office and bought those tickets unless Vandy itself was holding back those tickets. What do we have in our text line? 615-737-1025.
Joel texts in, says, beating Bama and Jared's beloved Nick Saban for the first time in 15 years is not nothing. By the way, the Vols haven't lost the Vandy game yet.
Let's go up there and hang a flag. Beat Nick Saban for the first time ever. Right, hey. That's me putting the flag up the flagpole that says, beat Nick Saban by 3 points in one game. Congratulations. You know what? The Titans should hang a banner for when they beat Brady and Belichick in the regular season in 2018. That team finished 9-7. They didn't go to the playoffs. They didn't really do anything spectacular, but they did beat Brady and Belichick. So go ahead and hang up a banner, because that's all you got. If you don't get to a good bowl game this year, that's all you got. We beat Nick Saban. That's not nothing. I mean,
if individual fans want to feel that way, by all means. But just know that nobody else in college football is going to look at Tennessee and say, well, at least they beat Alabama.
And for the most part, I hate to say this, having nice things doesn't really, or it shouldn't really make one feel better about themselves. What it really is supposed to do is it's supposed to make other people feel better about you, not make you feel better about you. So if it makes you feel better about you to say, well, we beat Nick Saban, well, okay, that's fine. But as far as taking that to anybody else, nobody else is going to sit there and
nobody,
be like,
no.
Well,
and what do you have to show for it is my question. The same thing as A&M last year. Yeah, you beat Nick Saban in Alabama, but what do you have to show for it?
What bowl did A&M play in last year?
I have no idea, but they were.
That's the point.
They were 8-4.
That's the point. All right, let's see the official SEC bowl. One of these is called the Reliable. I don't know which one it is. I'm thinking it's the Citrus Bowl.
No, this is the Cheez-It Bowl.
Cheez-It is citrus. You're right. Cheez-It is citrus.
The ReliaQuest Bowl.
What the hell is that?
Is that the Citrus Bowl?
No, the Cheez-It is the Citrus Bowl.
Oh, right. I just said that. Well,
Outback Bowl, maybe? Where's the ReliaQuest Bowl?
Outback Bowl. Yes, it's in Tampa.
Yeah, if you go to the Outback Bowl, that is an unmitigated disaster.
That is the ReliaQuest Bowl now.
After where you were 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Ian, what is this info that has been passed along to you?
Oh, just someone called in and said they were trying to buy some tickets a couple weeks ago to the Vandy UT game.
From Vandy?
Yeah, from Ticketmaster.
Uh-huh.
And he just said that it was about $170 a ticket, and the only tickets left were in the uppers.
I mean, if you're the great fan base that you say you are, you pay up. It's not
Do not pocket watch.
It's not like there's $17,000.
That's not fair to say.
I think it's completely fair to say. You think Ohio State would have bought $170 tickets?
I don't know what somebody's personal finances are.
No, do you think Ohio State would have had fans that would have been able to afford $170 to sit in the upper deck at a stadium that doesn't even really have an upper deck?
Yes, I do think that there are probably people out there that can afford $170 tickets, but I'm not going to say that person wanted to.
At Ohio State, I'm not mad at that person. I'm just saying that the Tennessee fan base that always brags about how great they are, they won't pay $170 for upper-level tickets in a stadium that doesn't even technically have an upper level. Not an upper level on that stadium. If they put an upper level on that stadium, the whole stadium would collapse. You know how some stadiums, they're like, there's not a bad seat in the stadium?
That's because it's small.
Vandy's the opposite of that. 615-737-1025. Trevor Maddich will join us next. Who is to blame for why Tennessee lost? And how bad is the reality of where the Vols are now? We'll get to that with Trevor. Edley's Barbecue. If you are going to the game this weekend and you're going to tailgate, let Edley's handle the tailgate prep. Get your smoked wings in easy 25 and 50 count platters, easily take smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, scratch-made sides, all family style. Edley's is perfect for game day at home or at the stadium. And I know this because I absolutely devour Edley's any opportunity I get. I've told you how much I love their wings there. I love their turkey, and I love their sides. I mean, just thinking about it right now has me excited about, you know what, maybe I need to go ahead and go to edleysbbq.com and order up some Edley's right now. That's how much I love Edley's. Everything I've ever had from Edley's is utterly delicious. So if you're going to the game and you want to have just the best tailgate feast, let Edley's do it. Again, you can take all the sides family style. It's perfect. If you're going to the game, they'll pack it for you. If you're having everybody at the house, again, perfect. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com. That's Edley's Barbecue, Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. That's edleysbbq.com.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and what's better than Black Friday? Gold Friday with the Nashville Predators. If you're looking for the perfect gift to give this holiday season, give an experience with up to 75% off Bridgestone Arena events, Preds tickets, merchandise, and more. Preds season ticket citizens receive early access to these Gold Friday deals on Monday, November 21st, open to the general public on Wednesday, November 23rd. Smashville Stocking Stuffer presented by 47 Brand and Local IQ, 2 hockey tickets plus a Preds hat plus a $20 food voucher starting at $79. Visit NashvillePredators.com/Gold Friday to view this year's deals.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
Wasp with special guest Armored Saint live at Ryman Auditorium November 23rd. It's Wasp with special guest Armored Saint. Celebrate Thanksgiving Eve with the most enduring heavy metal band ever. November 23rd at Ryman Auditorium. Get tickets at Ryman.com.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mace, we'll talk some Preds with Hal Gill coming up at 11. Jonathan Hutton at noon. Silly Underdog Picks, special edition at 1 o'clock as we get you set for Thanksgiving. The fun begins at 10 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company rivalry weekend. Ohio State, Michigan are playing for the playoff on Saturday. And now all these other teams are looking to get their way into the playoff. And Tennessee's not in it. Tonight they'll release the rankings. And honestly, I'm kind of bummed out. We won't have anything to yell about tomorrow because let's not kid ourselves. What the committee does with TCU or Michigan or any of those teams, I'm not sure anybody cares about compared to what we thought last week, and we analyzed it and everything else. And that's what Tennessee's disastrous showing against South Carolina did to everybody. Trevor Maddich joins us now, ESPN college football analyst here on the program. Trevor is presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts, wall-to-wall sports, and by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters. Trevor, what happened to the Vols on Saturday? Why was it so bad?
Well, I think they admit that they, at least some of the defenders after the game, admitted that they kind of overlooked South Carolina. They thought that they could just roll their helmets out there and win the game, that they didn't have to earn it. And that means the week of preparation. I mean, the whole Jeremy Banks issue, which is still a little bit foggy, but he didn't make the trip. They're starting outside linebacker because of a possible there's speculation that he was in an altercation or a fight with Hendon Hooker, for goodness sake. But I don't know what the truth is about that. There's just all a bunch of rumors.
It sounds like, from what I've been told, that you're correct.
Yeah, and so that gets in the way of your focus, and so all those things. But ultimately, I went back and watched that tape. Ultimately, the impression that people have is because South Carolina scored, what was it, 63, that the Tennessee defense didn't show up. But you go back and look at that, and Spencer Rattler, the South Carolina quarterback, was on fire. He made a bunch of fantastic throws against coverage that was pretty tight, sometimes about as tight as you can possibly expect in college football. But the ball got in on time to the right spot in a way that allows his receiver to keep on running. And, if the ball wouldn't have been quite that perfect, wouldn't have been a big play, would have been a decent play. But that happened over and over again. So I think the combination of the Tennessee possibly being a little bit complacent heading into this week, with Spencer Rattler playing better than any other quarterback I've seen this entire year in one single game, he was that good, is the reason that this perfect storm caused Tennessee's ship to crash on the rocks.
Here's where I'm going to stop you, Trevor, because I have watched Spencer Rattler play a handful of times, both at Oklahoma and South Carolina, and I don't think he's very good. And I'm sure he had the game of his life, and Dabo Swinney talked about how well he played. And the one thing I would say is, do you think he would have hung up 63 points on Georgia? The answer is no. Everybody knows it. Tennessee's defense was not this bad all season, but they did play that bad on Saturday. And honestly, I want answers as to why. Like, I want, Bob Shoop yesterday, we asked him who to blame, and Coach Shoop was like, well, this is the kind of performance where everybody shares in the blame. And I'm like, no. I want to know who to blame, Trevor, for a South Carolina team that scored 6 points at Florida the week before, scoring 63 against a team that we thought was contending for a playoff spot.
Well, who to blame? The biggest, obviously the defense gave up all those plays, right? But again, so many of those plays were pretty well defended. I'd tell you, Jared, if I thought that they were lazy, that they were busted assignments, that they weren't trying hard enough, but they were there. It's just that there was just such precision. Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma never played like this.
So
never,
you're saying,
not once.
Trevor,
I never saw.
You're saying that this is like Nick Foles' Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Kind of like that, yeah. Rattler, Hendon Hooker, Heisman Trophy candidate, right? His total QBR for this game, remember, quarterback rating, which rates more than just your passing. It rates everything you do. 100 is perfect. 50 is average. Hooker was 83. Spencer Rattler was 97 out of 100. 97. Now, part of the reason for that, if you want to point a finger somewhere, you point a finger at the pass rush, because they did not bother him at all with the pass rush. There were times when they rushed forward, it looked to me like the Tennessee pass rush was just trying to keep Rattler from breaking out of the pocket. They just wanted to let him throw because they didn't think that he could do that consistently. There were times when they would blitz. There were times when they would stunt. Overall, they never really bothered him at all. And so if you want to blame anybody, you could blame the fact that when it was clear that Rattler was on a hot streak, Tennessee was unable to make any adjustments, whether it was with personnel or with scheme, that changed the time that Rattler had in the pocket and moved him off his spot. That just did not happen enough. So if you're going to blame somebody, that's what to blame.
Is there any silver lining? Trevor Maddich is our guest. Is there any silver lining for Tennessee with their loss on Saturday?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
would you like to share that with the class?
Yeah, I will share that with the class. If I drop my marble on the floor, though, I have to drop it in the fishbowl, so I'm not going to do that. But when it comes to, this is an ugly moment, right? It feels ugly because it is ugly. They never should have lost this game, especially the way that they lost it. It's just ugly.
And
now,
with
I don't
everything
think
at
they were
stake.
prepared going in. What?
And with everything they had at stake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they win this game, and then they beat a kind of a resurgent Vanderbilt, but a Vanderbilt that doesn't have nearly as much firepower as the Volunteers do. And chances are very close to 100%, I think. The statistics are, I don't know what, 50, 60, but they would have made the playoff, I think, had it not been for this loss. So what was at stake was enormous, and they squandered it. Again, they didn't go out and play Ohio State in this game and lost to a better team. They went out and squandered it against a team that is trying to build to where Tennessee is now, but they're not even close. And they squandered it. That's true. And that's why it feels so ugly. What's the silver lining? The silver lining is that expectation. Everybody expected Tennessee to win this game, beat Vanderbilt, and make the playoff in year, 3 now of Heupel, 3 or 4, 3?
2.
And 2. Okay, good. That's even better. So in year 2 of Heupel, it just feels like longer, I guess.
It does.
In year 2 of Heupel, with 2 games to go, they were in the catbird seat to make the playoff. Who would have thought they'd even be here? At the beginning of the season, if I would have told you that, Jared, you would have laughed me off the air.
I'm laughing now.
Yeah, well, you're laughing now, but the point is that the expectation from you, from me, and from the rest of college football was that Tennessee deserved to be in the playoff as long as they took care of business. That is a high expectation that Tennessee earned. And as it is, they can still win 10 games in the regular season and head into the offseason, possibly with a bowl win, head into the offseason with a ton of momentum, having proven that Heupel's system works. People don't have to wonder about it anymore. They don't have to believe that the coaches are saying buy in and do all this hard work, and down the road we're going to succeed. They see the success now. What they need to do is improve that defense, but I think that help will be on the way. That's the silver lining. Am I being Pollyanna? Am I saying, no, it doesn't matter that they lost this game? No, it's crushing that they lost this game. It's even more crushing that they lost it the way that they lost it. But at the same time, for them to be in a position of expectation that they put themselves in heading into this game is an extraordinary leap forward for this program.
Here's the hard thing, though, that I feel about that, Trevor, which is that success in sports is not linear. It is not, the Chicago Bulls got to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost in Game 7 to the Detroit Pistons, and so the next year the Bulls go out and they sweep the Pistons and they win the NBA Finals. I mean, I know that happened, but that's not normally what happens on a consistent basis. The way I look at it as Tennessee had their chance. The stars aligned. They got the performance they needed against Alabama. They were right there, and they would get to the playoff for the first time ever. And who knows if this is a one-hit wonder deal or if this is a years to come kind of thing like Kirby at Georgia, but you at least knew. And for a school that does not recruit as well as the rest of the SEC, they needed to take what opportunity was given to them. And so when I look at the idea of, look at how far they came from last year, I'm like, right. And my school did the same thing. Louisville, we had the exact same season. We beat Florida State. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. We thought we were going to make the playoff. We lost to Clemson. That was fine. We got smoked by Houston and lost to Kentucky, and all was lost. And at least we got a Heisman Trophy out of it. Hendon Hooker's not going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. To me, there is nothing tangible that comes out of this for Tennessee, especially if they lose to Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Well, you're right about the fact that it's not guaranteed that it's linear, that when the doors open, you better go through it because that door might not open up again. And you are absolutely right about that. However, building a college football program is a series of successive steps. And one of those steps is for the staff and the players to show success and for the players to be able to tell their friends in high school that are coming up behind them as recruits that this is the place you want to be. And then one success builds off another success. But just ask Alabama about that linear part. I mean, Alabama last year, the quarterback was the Heisman Trophy. He's coming back this year. You know, they have a chance to add receivers in the transfer portal to compensate for losing guys to the NFL that were hurt at the end of the year that cost them, you know, the chance for the national championship. The receiver core really was the problem in that. And all of a sudden this year, they're back with a vengeance, right? No, they're not. They lose 2 games. Now, those 2 games that they lost are to teams that, you know, right now are in the top 10. I mean, Tennessee was, and then LSU. But at the same time, Alabama, with all the stuff that they have built, they can tell you that it's not linear because they have taken a step back. But you need to, I think, also, you know, appreciate the long-term process of building a program. And I think that this is going to put a really super sour taste in their mouth, and they don't have many opportunities left now to change that sour taste. But I think it still is the program is in a much better position right now than I ever thought it would have been. I didn't think that they'd be this high. And keep this in mind, too, that even with that loss, and it was an ugly loss, it was terrible, it was unnecessary, it was inexcusable. But when the emotion dies down, they beat Alabama and LSU. LSU, the SEC West champions. Alabama, who they haven't beaten since forever. Both are currently in the top 10, and both will likely finish in the top 10. And Tennessee knocked them off. And if I'd have told you before the season started that would happen on the way to a 10-win regular season that would also have some downs, I think most Tennessee fans would go, okay, that's all right. We'll take that as a step forward. Is it the step they wanted? No, because the whole thing was right in front of them. The playoff was right in front of them. All the publicity, all the features that ESPN and all the TV networks do on the 4 teams that make the playoffs, you're showcasing everything. All that just went away. All that just disappeared. It is a massive lost opportunity, but it doesn't erase the good things that they've done.
Will Tennessee beat Vanderbilt? I didn't think it'd be a real question that we'll have. We'll get into that with Trevor coming up next. Trevor Matich is with us. Plus, the Lane Kiffin to Auburn rumors are on fire. Trevor Matich is with us. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear and chilly as we head through the overnight, with temperatures dropping back to about 32. On our way to the low to mid 60s for Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine, a great afternoon for travel. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Don't wait! Get Black Friday pricing all week long at Electronic Express. Hurry into our convenient locations for the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers, tablets, smart home, appliances, and more. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 48 months free financing. Electronic Express has all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, Sony, Apple, and more. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Stores open early this Friday at 5 a.m. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with TaylorMade. The TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Wood Age is here, featuring 60 layers of carbon layer for better energy transfer and faster ball speeds. And now available, the new TaylorMade High Toe Milled Wedges, designed for a lower launch and more spin. While you're there, pick up the popular TaylorMade Tour Response Stripe golf balls. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and have one of our experienced experts custom fit you for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, Trevor Maddich Tuesday, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters, and by Twin Peaks, home of wall-to-wall wall-to-wall sports and 29-degree drafts at your local Twin Peaks. Trev, I never thought I'd be asking you this question. Does Vanderbilt have a legitimate chance to beat Tennessee? Backup quarterback in there. Vols defense looked like cheeks on Saturday, and the Vols have really nothing to play for except for a New Year's Six Bowl, which I don't know how much that matters to the players. Vandy is red hot. They've won 2 in a row. I love the coach. I'm not sure they're very good, though. But, I mean, the line's 14. 2 weeks ago, it would have been 35. What do we make of Vandy's chances on Saturday?
You know, Vandy really can't beat Tennessee, but Tennessee can. Now, Joe Milton, I think, is a very good quarterback coming in off the bench for Hendon Hooker, and he can do stuff. He really can. And even if the precision in the passing game isn't quite there, he can run the ball really well, and he still has a really strong arm. And while he's getting his ability to connect downfield with the receivers onto a good plane, the defensive Vandy still has to respect that. Thing about Vandy, though, is that they've proven in their 2 wins that they're really good at situational football. I mean, you look at the Florida game. I mean, Florida thoroughly outplayed them except for one place, and that is on third down conversions. I mean, Florida moved the ball up and down the field. They outgained them by about 150 yards, but Vandy converted 50% of their third downs. Florida converted only 4 for the whole game, and it was a 27% conversion rate. And that was the difference, that and the defensive touchdown for Vanderbilt. And so Vanderbilt has been playing pretty sound football up to their level of capability, and they have shown that they will take advantage of mistakes by the opponent, and they will they'll keep it close, you know, if the opponent isn't playing on all cylinders. And they're showing situational football is good too. So you move the ball up and down the field, all right, but they'll do something to get you off the field on third down. And this is where Tennessee cannot afford to overlook Vanderbilt the same way that they overlooked South Carolina, because the truth of it is, on a straight-up game where even with Joe Milton at quarterback, if Tennessee is locked in, Vanderbilt doesn't have a chance. Mm-hmm. But we just saw a game where Tennessee wasn't locked in, and the question now is, will Tennessee be able to get re-locked in and get peace in that locker room and stay focused in the week of practice? Because it's not out of the question that they couldn't get knocked off.
Trevor, Joe Milton's arm is freaking ridiculous. Is there a chance that he could play well enough in this game in a bowl game to become a legitimate NFL prospect?
Yeah, you know, it's funny that the NFL looks at your college career, and they'll look at numbers, and they'll look at stats and things like that, but more than that, they project you going forward into their league. And so, I mean, Tom Brady wasn't a great quarterback at Michigan. He was fine. He wasn't great. He was drafted in the 6th round, right? And he ended up being a great quarterback in the NFL. And I think since then, I think the NFL, in terms of the draft, are looking for guys that they can project a little bit more efficiently. If you look at Will Levis, the quarterback for Kentucky, you know, people still think that he could be one of the top 5 picks in the draft, even though his offense has really fallen by the wayside. And he hasn't played all that well, frankly. But when you look at his size, his strength, his potential for accuracy, his potential to grow into a prototypical NFL quarterback, they like that. And Joe Milton has the size. He's got the speed. He's got the physical characteristics. And NFL coaches will have to decide if they can coach him into being more accurate on the deep ball. And if they do, if they think that, then Joe Milton, I think, will have an opportunity to prove himself in the league, regardless of what happens the next couple of weeks.
Trevor Maddich is our guest. So these wild Lane Kiffin rumors about Lane Kiffin and Auburn, I guess there was a report that came out that that the deal was done, and then Lane quote tweeted the report and said that it was not true. I mean, if Lane's going to take out the report and say it's not true, it then would be kind of screwed up for Lane to turn around and actually go to Auburn. So is Lane Kiffin calling out the report of him going to Auburn, him squashing the rumor and that he's staying at Ole Miss, or is he going to Auburn? And honestly, Trevor, is Lane Kiffin really that good of a coach that Auburn thinks that he's going to solve all their problems? Because I don't think he's that good of a coach. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's that good of a coach.
Well, I think he's earned the right, though, to wait and pick his spot. I don't think he would go to Auburn unless he thought that was his spot. And maybe he does. Maybe he thinks that because of age, he can outlast Nick Saban and turn Auburn into Alabama.
How has he earned that right, though? He got fired at USC.
Well, here's the thing. He got fired. Well, when you look at Tennessee, for example, in the 1 year he was at Tennessee, he did well enough to impress Nick Saban, and Nick Saban brought him on there when he had the opportunity. Over at USC, yeah, he got fired at USC, but at the same time, that was during the Reggie Bush sanctions. There were so many times when he couldn't even run a proper practice because he didn't have enough scholarship linemen. And if he just got a few of them banged up, that was it. He couldn't run a practice. Then they had to go out and play. And so he actually wasn't nearly as bad there as people think. The Raiders stint, he was actually a lot better than people think. I mean, before he got there, the Raiders weren't competitive. When he got there, the Raiders were competitive. They were still losing, but now they were close in games. And then the owner at the time, Al Davis, decided he wanted to draft with the first pick of the draft, quarterback out of LSU, Russell Wilson, and Kiffin didn't want him. At least he told me he didn't want him. And next thing you know, he goes out there and kind of, nothing happens with that. And it kind of undermines all the rest of the stuff that the Raiders were trying to do under Kiffin. I think overall, Kiffin is a better head coach than he gets credit for. And I think you can look at his success at FIU and at Ole Miss, and you could say that. So I do think he's earned the right as a coaching candidate at other places down the road, whether it's now or later, that he doesn't need to take a job that he doesn't think is the absolute right job. Now, it's interesting that I didn't hear him say, and you can read the tweet maybe, I didn't hear him say he's not going. I heard him kind of refute it and troll the reporter. Sure. I heard him say, hey, nice source, right? Well, nice source, if he ends up being the coach at Auburn on Friday, he could say, yeah, nice source, he got it right. So I don't know what's going to happen there. All I know is that this is not one of those things where a coach has an opportunity and he better take it while the opportunity is there. Kiffin's going to have opportunities.
So apparently Chris Lowe reported within the hour that Lane Kiffin met with his players Tuesday and assured them that he hasn't accepted a job at any other school. Not that he won't accept a job at another school, but that he hasn't accepted a job at another school. Here's my thing. If you are going to take the Auburn job, which I think it's kind of a lateral move, but that's on you. But if you are going to take the Auburn job, you cannot troll the guy who said you're going to take the Auburn job if you then take the Auburn job. Now, if he knows he's not taking the Auburn job and he knows that this reporter is going to be wrong, then you can troll him. But you can't troll him and then take the job, because then if you take the job, then the reporter was right all along and you're wrong.
Yeah, but Kiffin's got the big megaphone on social media and everywhere else. This reporter was a local affiliate reporter, TV affiliate reporter in Starkville, which is the home of Mississippi State.
Sure.
Their big rival, right? And isn't it kind of interesting that this news broke the week of the Egg Bowl out of Starkville? And so that's an interesting thing there too. So, if he spoke with Auburn and decided, I'm not going to take that job, I would have expected him to say, I spoke with Auburn because you speak with everybody. My agent talked to him.
Would you take that
job?
job?
Always take a phone call, but I'm not going. I am not going. I didn't.
Would you take that job? Would you leave the
Would
money from Ole Miss? Because Ole Miss will pay Lane whatever he wants. Would you leave the money from Ole Miss and take the Auburn job if that was you?
No.
I wouldn't
would
either.
Not. Because at Ole Miss, he can call his shots. At Auburn, he's going to be one of many.
They're crazy at Auburn. I want no part of that job if I've already got a job in the same division. Trevor Matich, as always, presented by Twin Peaks and by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, great stuff. Have a very, very, very happy and football-filled Thanksgiving.
You too, Jared. Thanks, man.
Yep, Trevor Matich joining us on the program. Would you take if you were Lane Kiffin and you were at Ole Miss, would you take the Auburn job?
No.
Of course, no, you wouldn't.
No, it would have to be for a lot of money, and I have to assume that Ole Miss is probably willing to throw the same dollar amount at Lane to stay.
Here's what Auburn doesn't understand. This is the same problem that Florida has run into for the last 3 or 4 hiring cycles, is you have to go get the guy at the minor leagues. You have to do it. Unless you want to do what A&M did and they hate their coach, or what LSU did and they like their coach, but you're running the risk of going somewhere and paying somebody an ungodly amount of money so that you can't fire them. That's the only other option. And so, I mean, I hate to say it, but I wouldn't go to Auburn. Those people are crazy.
And if I'm Lane, yes, the resources might be a little bit better at Auburn, but really, is it that much different? Is it that much better? Is your path to a championship that much clearer at Auburn than it is at Ole Miss?
I don't think it is clearer, and I'll tell you why. And I know they're doing away with divisions or whatever in a couple of years, or they're talking about it, or I don't even know where they stand with this.
It's going to happen.
The crossover opponent for Ole Miss is Vanderbilt. The crossover opponent for Auburn is Georgia.
Yeah, good luck.
So that's a big difference.
And you're still playing Alabama every year.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Ryan Tannehill returns to the scene of the crime on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I don't even need to tell you what that crime is. You all know. You all remember. You all felt it. Do we think that this could be a problem for Ryan Tannehill? We'll discuss. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today, just like me. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
It's Black Friday weekend, and Genesis Diamonds is giving away free Yetis, free pizza ovens, free Always pans, and free smart TVs. When you buy any piece of jewelry at Genesis this weekend, you'll get one of the year's coolest holiday gifts, absolutely free. Stock the tree with something for everyone this year. Spend just $299 or more on a piece of jewelry, and Genesis gives you a free rechargeable hand warmer or shiatsu massager. Spend $500 and you'll get an Ember Smart Mug. Or spend at least $1,000 at Genesis this weekend and you'll get a free mini projector or Big Horn pizza oven. So you can get her that beautiful ring or pair of earrings for Christmas and get one of the year's hottest gifts at no extra charge. How about a Yeti Tundra when you spend at least $1,800 this weekend? Or listen to this. Spend $3,500 on a piece of jewelry and choose between a 55-inch 4K TV and a Dyson Airwrap. Yours free. Don't miss the Black Friday event. This Friday through Cyber Monday, only at Genesis Diamonds. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. So Ryan Tannehill returns to the scene of the crime on Sunday. Nissan Stadium versus the Bengals. And you all know what the crime is. The single most egregious performance in the history of the Tennessee Titans, overtaking Al Del Greco's 2000 Ravens performance in just terms of how bad that one performance was that cost the team everything. We all remember it. No need to rehash it. But not only is there no need to rehash it, the Titans are going out of their way to make sure that everybody knows that what happened last year in the same place with the same team has absolutely nothing to do at all with the team this year, again playing the same team at the same place. Mike Vrabel today was asked about the playoff game last year against the Bengals, and Mike Vrabel quickly said, this is not a revenge game.
This is not a revenge game. More than half of our team didn't even play in that game. But I think trying to have some familiarity with who they are, have a lot of respect for them, obviously in all three phases. So that might help, Jim. There may be some carryover. Sure, they're still going to try to get the ball to their elite skill players, and whoever those may be based on availability. Defensively, they're going to make it tough for you, and very, very good front and aggressive secondary.
Now, I don't think anybody's looking for revenge. In fact, I don't even know how much we talk about the Bengals. They played the Bengals. They lost to the Bengals. We didn't talk about the Bengals. We talked about Tannehill. And then after that, we talked about the Colts. And then about 3 weeks into the year, the Colts were no good anymore. So we stopped talking about the Colts. Then we started talking about the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens and maybe the Bengals in there with the Dolphins and everybody else they may play in the AFC playoffs. But it's not like, that they need to calm this down and say, this is not a special game like Ohio State, Michigan. Duh. But the fact that Mike Vrabel felt the need to say, this is not a revenge game. And the fact that the team, just like we've seen in the past, is completely parroting Mike Vrabel. Jeffrey Simmons today said that Mike Vrabel in the team meeting had everybody who wasn't on the team last year when they played in the divisional round of the playoffs raise their hand and said that he was shocked at how many hands were in the air. And Ryan Tannehill went to the podium today, and he was asked about the revenge game factor, or whatever you want to call it. The makeup game is what it really should be, and not a revenge game. The makeup game factor for Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill wanted no part of it.
Ryan, your coach says Sunday is not a revenge game. Are you of that mindset as well?
Yeah, no doubt. Just like I said after Thursday night, that was last year. Half this team, wasn't even here. So this is a new team facing another new team. Obviously, a game we want to win, but it has nothing to do with last year.
So this reminds me of the Indianapolis game where Mike Vrabel got up at the podium and was like, I'm never going to be sorry about winning a game. And apparently Derrick Henry on the field with CBS after the game vented some frustrations about how the Titans, had to hang on to win. And then as soon as Vrabel was done talking at the podium and the media went in the locker room, everybody in the locker room, we're not going to be sorry about winning a game, which means that Vrabel said, we're not going to be sorry about winning a game, and you're not going to apologize to anybody. Understood. And everybody in there put their salutes up, and they said, sir, yes, sir. And all of a sudden, they went in that direction, which means Mike Vrabel trotted out today for the team meeting to get ready for the Bengals, and he said, this is not a revenge game. We're not going to talk about last year. We're not going to think about last year. We're not even going to sniff the air, the oxygen of last year, because we are so not doing this. It's nothing about last year. And my mind goes to this. That's about one guy, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they lost the game because of one guy.
Okay. So why is Vrabel doing all of this? Why is his whole team meeting and his whole team mantra about protecting the feelings of the one guy? What that was, what Vrabel's, this isn't a revenge game, which Jim Wyatt's question was not, is this a big revenge game? It was something about the playoff game. I can't make out what Jim said, but it was Vrabel saying, this is not a revenge game. And then everybody else parroting that. He wanted to say that today. Why did he want to say that for Tannehill's sake? Why did he want to make that about this, about how, half the team wasn't here last year that was in that game? I know who was on the team last year in that one game. The one guy that you're doing all this for. Why?
Well, I think it could be a few things. One, when Vrabel and Tannehill both addressed the Bengals game in May, earlier this spring, it was, we're moving on. That was last year. And calling this a revenge game is not leaving that game in 2021. Technically, it was 2022, but you know what I mean. That would not be leaving that game in last year. That
do you think they've really moved on?
These feelings.
Do you think they've really moved on? Do you think Tannehill has moved on?
Yeah.
Remember Tannehill, Ian, if we could, in May of this year, when he finally decided to speak to the media after he didn't take the blame after the Bengals game, got up in front of the media and was like, I never thought that we'd be talking about this. We thought we were going to go down there and win the game. And it's like, well, guess what, bub? You didn't. And then he went freaking radio silent and left everybody in the organization to do the nobody feels worse about this game than Tannehill does. And then finally, when he emerged out of hibernation in May of this year, Tannehill told us how much the Bengals game affected him.
Brian, how much does the playoff loss still linger with you and bother you? And do you, I guess, listen to any of the things that are said, in terms of people wanting to put the blame on you for that loss?
It's a scar. It's a deep scar. It was a lot of sleepless nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I was rewatching the game in my head. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep for weeks and weeks after the game. Was in a dark place, and it took me a while and a lot of work to get out of it. It wasn't something that went away easily, and it's still a scar that I'll carry with me, throughout the rest of my life. But just like a cut on your arm, starts off as a wound. You're able to heal from it, and it turns into a scar. It never leaves you, but it's always there, and it can remind you. And now it's fuel for me. It's fuel for me to work and get ready with a passion and come into this season with a fire and a desire to win like I've never had before.
Doesn't sound to me like he was leaving it last year.
But don't you think there's a certain element of forgive and don't forget? Of, okay, forgive yourself for what you did. Don't stew in what you did last year. Don't constantly think about, wow, I was the reason why my team didn't compete for a Super Bowl. Forgive yourself, move on from it, but use that as fuel moving forward.
I think that is Mike Vrabel's theory here, which is instead of, and some of these coaches, they'll do whatever it takes to motivate the players. If they think that telling somebody like, I watched the Football Life documentary on Thurman Thomas, and Will Wolford, an offensive lineman for the Bills, said that he would go to Thurman Thomas and be like, yeah, hey, those guys on the Dolphins, they were saying that they don't worry about you. They're only worried about stopping Jim Kelly in the passing game. And that Thurman Thomas would get mad, and then Thurman Thomas would play better. And so they would do that like every week to Thurman Thomas because they knew that made Thurman Thomas a better player. So I think Vrabel looks at it like, if I get up there right now and make this about the revenge game, nobody thinks this is a revenge game. There's no revenge to be had against the Bengals. They beat you in a playoff game.
The Bengals didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything. There's no rivalry between the Titans and the Bengals. Nobody said anything. It's not like Joe Burrow grabbed his crotch on the way out of the stadium. They didn't jump on the logo. There's none of that. And yet Vrabel knew, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to talk about how half the guys on our team weren't here. And I'm going to do this for the entire team because it does not motivate Tannehill to rub his face in it. That it is more important for us to ignore it and pretend like it didn't happen and pretend like it doesn't matter because Tannehill plays better when he is not thinking about that. And if he is thinking of, I think Vrabel's afraid of Tannehill getting PTSD out there on the field on Sunday. Bengal PTSD.
Which is a really difficult line to walk of you want them to be fired up, but you also don't want to put so much pressure on Ryan Tannehill because we've seen how that's shaken out in the past when Ryan Tannehill is under a lot of pressure.
Cracks.
I mean, you could tell in that Bengals game from the very first snap, he looked like he was so spooked out there. So I don't.
And then what happened on the first snap is probably what led him into the tunnel of crap.
Of just rolling down this hill of just stress and anxiety and pressure.
So do we think? Let's agree on this. Do we think that this is Vrabel's way of keeping Tannehill's mind away from last year's Bengals game? Not the team, not me, not you, but Tannehill.
Probably a little bit. Yep.
Do we think that Mike Vrabel's going to this charade of, this is not a revenge game, when nobody is saying that it was? Do we think that is...
Well, there's a reason why he said that.
It's all for one guy, right?
Well, there was one guy who lost that game.
It's all for one guy.
But that's the most important guy.
Do we think that they need that?
You tell me. How much did Tannehill crack under pressure last time?
I mean, he cracked.
And he said he's been carrying this with him. I think Mike Vrabel is trying to get ahead of it and say, hey, this has nothing to do with last year. I know that you carry that scar with you, but this has nothing to do with last year. This is not a revenge game.
I think Vrabel was that whole thing, that whole spiel about half the team. And I think he effectively did this. That was the way to keep anybody from asking him any more questions about last year's Bengals game. Half our team's not even the same anymore. And so then the next question about that would basically be the same answer. And that's exactly, Tannehill went right there. TD asked a question about his mindset because Tannehill opened the door to how much that Bengals game hurt him by telling people that, which I appreciate honesty. But he opened that door. Well, now TD, I think, goes in there and, well, what about that door? And it's like, nope, we're not going there. And so I think that it's all to protect Tannehill. And honestly, I do want to see. I've got a thought on this about what I want to see specifically on Sunday about Tannehill. It's not like I want to see 3 touchdowns and I want to see, but it's one thing in particular. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 here on the program, and we will get to your phones. 615-737-1025. Hey, Edley's Barbecue. Who's going to the game Sunday? I'm going to the game Sunday. If you're tailgating Sunday, or if you're having people over for the game, or if you're having people over for a game on Saturday, or whatever it may be, you got to get with my friends at Edley's Barbecue. Hand off the tailgating prep to Edley's Barbecue, where you can get your smoked wings and easy 25 and 50 count platters. You can easily take the smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, and scratch-made sides family style. And Edley's is perfect. That's right, for game day at home or at the stadium. So call your neighborhood Edley's, which, by the way, we got a new Nolensville location for Edley's Barbecue. Congratulations to our friends at Edley's. Once again, another wonderful location. We love Edley's Barbecue. Edley's Barbecue is fantastic. We had my dad's birthday party. We catered from Edley's because it's so darn good. You should do the same for all your events because the Edley's has won Nashville's Best Barbecue 4 years in a row. That's Edley's Barbecue. It's a winning pick. I love Edley's Barbecue. Edley's Barbecue online, edleysbbq.com.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When you want to rock.
Let's go. Don't wait. This night's almost over. Do all the monsters come out at night? Why do we slip when we want to?
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Old Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
Being part of Cromwell Media, who owns this station, is a big deal because it's our people that make us what we are. So we're saluting Nicola Spencer and our sales department for 18 years of service. Ted and Holly Klimkowski have put in 12 years as our engineering and IT wizards. Willie Donick, midday host on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and voice of the Predators, celebrates 11 years this month. And Yvette Wright in sales passes the 1-year mark. We salute them all and invite you to join the team. Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
This game isn't a revenge game, but for you, just from a mental recovery standpoint, how has the year gone? Like, do you notice anything different? Did you learn anything new about yourself, going from that point to where you are now?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're looking for there, but yeah, I mean, every year is a learning experience. You're learning the guys around you. You're learning the nuances of how things are going throughout the year, and so each and every year is a little bit different. There's a little bit different mental side to it, and yeah, I think myself and everyone included has grown mentally, throughout the challenges of this year.
He wasn't asking you about that, Ryan. You know that. I know that. He knows that. Caroline knows that. That wasn't what he was asking you about. That would be like asking
I don't like that
Tom
response.
Brady. Oh, I mean,
it
was a total deflection, and it wasn't even a good deflection. It was like a John Robinson deflection.
Well, I mean, beyond the deflection, I mean, just kind of dismissing the question, like, I don't really know what you're getting at there.
Yes, you do.
Like, you don't have to be mean, Ryan.
He knows what he's getting at. The problem is TD asked it too nicely.
Don't put
you know what I mean? Like,
don't
TD's
put that
like
on
trying
TD.
No. TD's trying to get Ryan Tannehill to talk about, mentally growing from the Bengals game, which is a fair question. Well, so TD, wants to say it in a nice way that can get Tannehill to actually answer it, not clam up. And Tannehill's like, I don't know what you're getting at. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do, because you are the one who talked about it.
Yes, you do. So one thing I do wonder about, and I wonder if Vrabel's worried about this. You think Vrabel's worried about Tannehill getting PTSD on the field on Sunday?
Yes.
I do too. I'm not worried about it for some reason.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't know if that's my own deflection of my own concerns for Ryan Tannehill.
I'm not worried about it.
I don't know why for some reason I am.
I mean, to me, it's a regular season game, and, if they get beat by the Bengals, we've talked about this, what the seeding, how much does it matter, how much
But is that how
doesn't it
Ryan
matter?
Tannehill feels?
I mean, I think it's about just like, is Tannehill going to go out there and see those orange helmets? And all of a sudden, he talked about how he was replaying the game at night. Clearly, this was a traumatic experience for Ryan Tannehill.
And I understand.
Honestly, it probably should have been. And so it was a traumatic experience. And so now you go right back to it. Like the conditions, it'll be a noon game instead of a 3:00 game. So it won't be dark outside at the end of the game, which will be the only difference. But other than that, it wouldn't surprise me, and I don't know what uniforms the Titans are wearing. It wouldn't surprise me if the Titans wear white on Sunday, just so Cincinnati has to wear a different uniform than they wore last year, just so that Tannehill doesn't start having these flashbacks to that playoff game last season. And I do think that the reason why Vrabel's like, half the team is different. We have a different team. They have a different team. It's a different team, even though it's really not. I think that is because he's afraid of Tannehill going out there after Tannehill played great, maybe his best game in the last 2 years. Played great on Thursday night against the Packers.
Had a great day.
By the way, did you notice that Tannehill still was asked about his ankle? Oh, it still hurts. Sure it does, Ryan.
I'm sure it does.
He answered that one directly.
Of course he did.
Oh, yeah, my ankle's still hurting, but I'm powering through it to 330 yards on Thursday night. But again, I do think how Vrabel handles Tannehill, which is what I'm watching with this week, is fascinating. Because Vrabel is a no-nonsense, no BS guy. And all he ever does is talk about how tough Tannehill is. And here he is with like oven mitts around this regular season Bengals game. And just these oven mitts around Ryan Tannehill. And I just think it's just knowing Vrabel, it's so fascinating. It must be killing him. It must kill Vrabel to not be able to walk up there and talk in front of the team today about Cincinnati and be like, and remember what happened last year in the playoffs, and remember why that happened. Because if they had turned the ball over 3 times and had lost to Cincinnati, and let's say the 3 turnovers were, a fumble by a receiver, a blocked
team
punt,
effort,
and an interception, right? Where it's not one guy's fault, but it's everybody's fault. And he would have gone up there and been like, last year we turned the ball over 3 times, and that's why we lost. And instead, this year he's like, whatever happened last year doesn't matter this time. I remember a couple years ago, they went to Buffalo when Buffalo stunk, and they fumbled the football like 4 times and lost the game. And the next year, they were getting ready to play Buffalo here. And I asked Vrabel about the fumbles against the Bills, and I was like, last year, you guys went up there and Buffalo forced 4 fumbles. And he was like, they sure did. They're a great team at forcing fumbles. They are this, they are that, they are. And it was like, that was clearly something that he was wanting to make a big deal about. Well, he doesn't want to make a big deal about this. And he doesn't want to make a big deal about this because he's got the oven mitts on when it comes to Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just, again, I'm not saying that it's wrong.
Unless it's more than Tannehill.
It's just Tannehill. But
I don't know how that loss
fascinating to
affected
me.
other players on that team.
Nah, it's Tannehill. I know that nobody else was having flashbacks in the middle of the night like that, like Tannehill.
No, because nobody else threw 3 interceptions in that game.
I mean, one guy lost him the game. Everybody knows who it was. But I just find it so fascinating about how Vrabel is treating Tannehill with this. Like, it's so – I'm not saying it's wrong. I think Mike Vrabel's the best coach in the league. So if Mike Vrabel is the best coach in the league, then he probably is doing the right thing to come out and nip any talk about last year in the bud and, half the team's different, move on or whatever. But I just think it's so fascinating. Like that this is his approach with Tannehill in this game.
I think it's because it has to be.
He could be the other way.
Well, if it was the other way, don't you think he'd be approaching it that way?
Well, I told you that he could come out and he could say to Tannehill, hey, he could put the pressure on Tannehill right now to try to see how he'll react to the pressure, knowing that come playoff time, that pressure will return. We talk about the PTSD of Tannehill getting out there against the Bengals and having, that all of a sudden getting out there and seeing those orange helmets and then going from that cool, calm, 330-yard Tannehill Thursday night to, oh, my God, Tannehill. Well, I think we all are scared to death that when they kick the ball off in January, or the Dolphins or the Patriots or whomever, that Tannehill's going to get out, and I don't know, this may be bad. Vrabel knows Tannehill better than I do, but I was wondering if Vrabel was going to challenge Tannehill as hey, man, let's see how you react when we put this pressure on you, knowing that in 2 months, when that game is for real in the playoffs, that pressure that will be on you, there's nothing we can do about that pressure.
But of course there's been pressure on him all season long. But maybe Vrabel knows that additional pressure, that him being even harder on Tannehill, it could break him. Because Tannehill had, 6, 7, 8 months after that Bengals game to do whatever work he needed to do to get back and get confident and move on from that game. If he cracks under pressure against the Bengals this week, you don't have 8 months to recover.
What's going to happen on January 13th?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
So to sit there and say, if he puts the pressure on Tannehill, then Tannehill could crack under the pressure. When they get to January 13th, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Buffalo, who might be the best wild card team in the history of wild card teams, or if it's New England, who I would welcome with open arms in the first round of the playoffs this year. It doesn't matter who it is. All that pressure's coming back. All that talk is coming back, and there's nothing they can do about it. Tannehill can't go to the podium the week of the wild card round, and when he's asked about last year in the playoffs, say, well, half our team is different this year than they were last year. Everybody's going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about it. Terry Bradshaw is going to be talking about it. Everybody is going to be talking about it. And so that's coming because we all know the Titans are going to make the playoffs. So the other approach would be to put pressure on Tannehill to see how he'll react to that, knowing that the pressure will come to him. And Vrabel is taking the exact opposite approach, which is, the kid gloves and the opinion of, well, you know what, it'll be fine, and it has nothing to do with this. And he's probably right. He's got the skins on the wall to where he's probably right. But like I said, I just find it so fascinating. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get to your phones on this. And I did promise phones last time, and then we got going on this Tannehill thing, so I apologize. 615-737-1025, but we're right to them next. Stillman and Company here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, by the way, tune in for the pregame show this Sunday, live from Sonny's Patio Pub and Refuge, located at 1322 6th Avenue North in Germantown. Join me, Chris Sanders, and Derek Mason from 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Titans and the Bengals. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. And let's tell you about Bavarian Beer House, Nashville's only authentic German beer hall. It's a place full of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst, schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more in an Oktoberfest-inspired space. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get a $50 gift card for only $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Meet Joe A, hi, Joe B, hello, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I think Ryan Tannehill's thrown the ball just like he did last night all year long. And, you know, listen, he's never going to put up Mahomes or Josh Allen, those numbers, because that's not how the team is built. But they're tough. They're extremely well coached. And you saw Green Bay had to make tremendous adjustments to play an offense where the quarterback is under the center most of the time and the running back is way back there. And there's not a lot of deception, but it still works.
Boy, Phil Simms, I'll tell you, he is tooting the Ryan Tannehill horn. And I hear that, and I get nervous. Because it's like Tannehill went out there and played his best game over the last 2 years against the Packers. And now the thing I've learned about Tannehill, and I love Tannehill, I do, even though I've got a very funny way of showing it. But I see the setup, and then I see the fall, and I'm like, oh, no. Don't want to get my hopes up with Tannehill. That's the one thing I've learned in my life. And I like Tannehill. I do. I think Tannehill's a good man. But I don't want to get my hopes up with Tannehill.
Is this about Tannehill now, or is this about Tannehill in a couple of months?
Well, I mean, deep down inside, The Titans have, according to New York Times, the Titans have a 96% chance to make it, to win the division. They have a 98% chance to make it to the playoffs. Case in point, they're going to make it to the playoffs. They're going to host a game because they're going to win the division.
They're going to win the division, yes.
And so, what's the difference between the first seed and the fourth seed? I don't know. Right now it's playing the Bills. But if you don't play the Bills, let's say you get the fourth seed. Let's say the playoffs end today. You get the fourth seed. Your first game is at home against the Buffalo Bills. If you're the first seed and Buffalo is the 5 seed, guess who your first game, if you've got the first seed, is probably going to be against?
Buffalo.
The Buffalo Bills at home.
Yeah, good luck.
So what's the difference between the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed? Who cares? Again, going to Miami for a divisional round playoff game, fine. But, I'm just kind of worried that everybody's going to get excited about Tannehill having one really good game against a team that stinks. And we can all agree the Packers stink. And now here come the Bengals. And then Tannehill's going to blow it. Or they're going to play the Cowboys on that Thursday night game, which I think is their last nationally televised game. And he's going to blow it. And then everybody's going to be right back out on Tannehill. Or even if Tannehill doesn't blow it and they end up in the playoffs, then Tannehill's going to blow it. And so I'm just preparing myself emotionally for all of that.
I don't think you're giving him enough credit. Because while he had his best game of the season by far last week, Tannehill hasn't had a game this year that I've looked at and said, wow, really bad game, Ryan Tannehill. Wow.
I've been on Tannehill's defense.
Titans lost that game because of Tannehill.
I have been, other than the missing the Chiefs game, which I'm still not happy about, I have been at the defense of Ryan Tannehill this season. And Ryan Tannehill has played good ball for the most part. Now, that interception he threw the other night, and he throws about one of those a game where he targets the other team's DB and doesn't see him, which is driving me crazy because that's what Marcus used to do. He did the same thing against Denver. They just didn't intercept it. But other than that, but I have my feelings about Tannehill in the playoffs, and those probably aren't going to change until we get to the playoffs. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
Tyler texts in and says, a lot of us fans see this as a revenge game. I know I saw it on the schedule and have been waiting for this game. A lot of people I know feel the same way.
Really?
I guess so.
I don't think so.
Fans can feel that way. Fans can be angry with the Cincinnati Bengals. Fans can look at the Bengals and say, you were the reason why we didn't get to the Super Bowl. But when it comes down to it, that's not the truth.
I'm not sure I've talked to one person about excitement of the Bengals game having anything to do with last season's playoff game as far as a showing them who's boss kind of moment.
In my opinion, I'm looking at the Eagles game more than anything to be a show them who's boss kind of moment.
Oh, remember how we talk about how, if the Titans are playing the Texans, for instance, we cannot talk about, unless, the Texans fire the coach that day, there's nothing we can talk about with the Texans. We cannot, even on Friday, we can't talk about, is the Texans' offensive line going to be able to – we can't do it. The Texans and Jags and those teams are so bad and so uninteresting that we literally cannot talk about them. Now, every now and then there's a team, and that's why I'm bummed that the Cowboys game is on the Cowboys game is, I believe, on a Thursday. And I believe Monday is the day that everybody gets off for Christmas because Christmas is on Sunday. And so we'll only have Tuesday and Wednesday to get ready for the Cowboy game. But if they were to play the Cowboys, we could talk about the Cowboys on Tuesday. When they play a playoff game, for instance, that Monday after the game on Sunday, everybody will want to talk about the next game. And that's just how it is. This game, we can talk about the Bengals because of Tannehill's misgivings last year, but this game is the Bengals are not a Tuesday team. Joe Burrow, and I got a lot of respect for him, their coach, that is a maybe Friday discussion. But next week, AJ will be a Tuesday through Friday discussion on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way around it. Unless somebody gets fired or something crazy happens, whatever. AJ next week will be a Tuesday through Friday discussion. And the Bengals game just certainly does not register like that for me. When I talk about like how fans feel, I do feel like I've got a unique pulse on the Titans fans because literally every single person in my life is a Titans fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for the most part, when I haven't talked to one person in my life who has talked about this game as anything special, then I can say unequivocally that this is not some kind of special game.
Because I just don't think it is anything special
It's
beyond
not.
a talented AFC team.
It does not. What's next?
Tyler texts in and says, I don't think that Mike Vrabel wants to save Tannehill from anything. I think he doesn't want to make anything extra about a game. Next week he's going to say that they wish the best for AJ and they're focused on the Eagles team. It's just what Vrabel does in public.
So what Vrabel says next week about AJ will be very, very obvious and, to the texter's point, probably very easy to predict. But what AJ says will be the interesting part. Now, I think they're going to coach AJ up not to say anything next week, but I don't know that. And with Vrabel, the one thing about him is you never know. Like, you have to ask Vrabel the question because you never know what he's going to say. John Hines, I know what he's going to say. It's the same old, says a lot of words, doesn't say anything kind of answer. Vrabel, every now and then Vrabel takes cracks. Now, here's the thing, is the best time, no one's going to do this. And he'll say, like, we just finished playing the Bengals. I haven't even thought about the Eagles yet. But the best time to ask Vrabel would be after the game about AJ. Because that's the best opportunity you have.
Emotions
to get Mike
are raw.
Vrabel. Oh.
After the game, asking about AJ the next week, he would hate that.
He would hate it. Hate it.
That.
Oh, he would hate it. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, I think if CJ Uzomah was still on the team, I think there might be a little bit more to it because he did talk after the game, plus their fans are annoying, so of course a victory will be nice.
All CJ Uzomah said was that the Titans were afraid and they knew it. And the Titans were afraid. Now, what CJ Uzomah, I think, was alluding to that the Titans were afraid of is, I think CJ Uzomah, who's not even on the Bengals anymore, but I think he was alluding to the idea that they were afraid to give our offense the ball, which is not necessarily true. Let me tell you something. When the Bengals are kicking to the Titans with like 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the game, I absolutely am like, I don't want to give Burrow the ball back in regulation. But I wasn't afraid of that. What I was afraid of was poopy pants at quarterback that had already thrown 2 interceptions, turning around and throwing the ball right to your team with a short field and setting up a field goal. And that's exactly what happened. And I do think the Titans were afraid of that, which is why they called run, even though Derrick Henry hadn't run well the whole game. They called run on first down and second down because they were really hopeful that Derrick Henry was A, going to keep the clock moving, and B, could bust off like a 25-yard run to get them on the edge of field goal range so that they could feel like, oh, wow, now we can open the playbook and throw something short here and maybe get into field goal range and try to get out of here unscathed. Like they were hoping Derrick could save their bacon, and he couldn't because Cincinnati loaded the box because they weren't going to let Derrick beat them, and it's not C.J. Uzomah's fault that he was pretty much 90% right. And I did not take that personal at all because he was right. Now, again, what they were scared of is probably not what C.J. Uzomah thought they were scared of, but at this point, that would just be arguing semantics.
And, is that really what fans are hung up on?
Have we heard anybody talk about C.J. Uzomah since he said it?
No! I honestly forgot what he even said.
So, that's no. There's nothing special about the Bengals other than the fact that the Bengals are, I think, an interesting team. I don't know if they're really all that good, but they got a quarterback that I have a ton of respect for, a bunch of receivers. The Titans never seem to beat them or this loser coach, even if the Bengals are bad. But, I tell you, CBS was lucky on Sunday that they had an interesting Bengals-Steeler game to go to. Because, CBS, there's probably a handful of games all year that CBS is lined up for, where they're like, this game is a big game for us. And, Bills-Chiefs is a huge game for CBS, obviously. And this one, they set all kinds of ratings records this season with Packers and Cowboys because it's the Packers and it's the Cowboys and it's close and it goes to overtime. And so CBS gets Minnesota, who's 8-1 against Dallas, and they're sitting there like, oh, baby. Oh, Tony Romo, 330, Dallas, Minnesota's 8-1. And the fact that it was 37-7. I was watching the game on Sunday Ticket, the Steelers-Bengal game.
Uh-huh.
And so when Greg Gumbel just goes, Greg Gumbel, Adam Archuleta, A.J. Ross live here at Acrisure Stadium where the Bengals lead the Steelers by the score of 20-17 here with 8:13 to go in the third quarter. I'm like, that is the key word that they just cut that game out. And somebody said to Greg Gumbel, hey, they just sent the Cowboy audience over to you, so reset the game for everybody. And I was like, wow. And CBS was like looking at the Vikings and Kirk Cousins just like,
Seriously, Kirk. We expected more from you.
Just screwing our ratings doubleheader. 615-737-1025. I did say that we don't talk much about the Texans, but John McClain. We got to read to you what John McClain wrote about the Texans. They got crushed by the Commanders. Just trust me on this. We wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't worth talking about. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. I love Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, and they're giving away cash for the holidays. They are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. And Hiller wants to make sure that every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year. And they're donating $50 in Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More deals are online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy will be here. The service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. I do wonder who Hiller's rooting for on Saturday. I'll have to ask. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, call the Happy Face Truck today.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear and chilly as we head through the overnight, with temperatures dropping back to about 32. On our way to the low to mid 60s for Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine, a great afternoon for travel. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here. What's better than Black Friday? Gold Friday with the Nashville Predators. If you're looking for the perfect gift to give this holiday season, give an experience with up to 75% off Bridgestone Arena events, Preds tickets, merchandise, and more. The 2023 SEC Men's Basketball Tournament, Widespread Panic, Jelly Roll, Toby Mac, Monster Jam, WWE, and so many more shows that you don't want to miss. You can get up to 50% off select merchandise at Nashville Locker Room on Friday, November 26th from 7 to 11. Visit NashvillePredators.com/Gold Friday to view this year's deals.
Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nail the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I'm going to start with Tennessee. Everybody wants to go on Rodgers, and we'll get to that. But let's start with Tennessee. I thought Tannehill played very well last night. They had some spirit. They had enthusiasm. Vrabel's a very good coach. They're helped by a bad division. Now, they get Jacksonville and Houston 4 games every year. So that does help them some. But, I mean, he's been competitive. He was competitive in Kansas City. Good win last night. They win. They make the playoffs every year. And, Henry's he's a Hall of Fame running back. I mean, I don't know if they have enough weapons in a big game on the road in the month of January, but I tell you, they're dangerous, Phil. And Tannehill's played well. He had a good game last night. I was impressed with him.
There you go, Mad Dog Russo talking about the Titans. And I love how he had to say, they play in a horrible division, which is absolutely true.
He's not wrong.
He is not wrong. They play in a horrible division. And that takes me to John McClain's Texan grades. The Texans played Washington in a rather pedestrian 23-10 loss on Sunday. And John McClain put out his grades. This is GallerySports.com, which is where John McClain works now. We love John McClain. He writes this, quote, "The Texans put up more of a fight during a Friday walkthrough at Houston Methodist Training Center than they did at NRG Stadium on Sunday when they lost to Washington 23-10. A first half which they trailed 20-0 may have been the worst in team history. They were a pathetic excuse for an NFL team." Whoa. Now, remember when the Titans played the Texans, and I said that I remember the expansion Texans in 2002, and that I thought the team the Titans beat might be worse than the expansion Texans team? Here were John's grades. You ready for this?
Yep.
Grade for the Texans overall, F-.
F-? I didn't even know that was a real thing.
Quarterback, F-.
All right.
Running back, F.
Not even a minus.
Or a plus.
Huh.
Wide receivers, D.
Improvement.
Tight ends, D.
F. Okay.
Offensive line, F-. Hey, remember this Kenyon Green that we talked about the Titans maybe drafting in the first round?
Yes.
Quote, "Rookie guard Kenyon Green had a terrible game. He got crushed on the pass rush and committed too many penalties. Fortunately for him," John McClain writes, "only one was called. He's going through a rough stretch against premier defensive tackles, and they're winning. The Commanders had 5 sacks by 3 linemen drafted in the first round and totally shut down the Texans' running game. F-. Defensive line, C+. Linebackers, C. Secondary, C+. Special teams, C. Coaching,
F-.
F- from John McClain. John McClain writes, "Lovie Smith's defense allowed 1 touchdown and 3 field goals. Pep Hamilton's offense allowed 1 touchdown. The offense couldn't have been worse in the first half. It was an inexcusable performance. There is also no excuse for Smith, Hamilton, and the position coaches to put a product on the field that's so wretched." That's from John McClain.
Wretched.
So I remember when the Titans were bad and how miserable it is every day to do a show talking about that. And honestly, these Texan games, the Texans, 3 years ago, how everybody says Jimmy Garoppolo? They're like, Jimmy Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl. That year, the Houston Texans were up 24-0 in a divisional playoff game. F-.
F. Life comes at you fast.
F-.
And the best grade is a C+.
F-.
Oh.
That's not even a grade.
It's, it's worse than a grade.
Eddie George is up next. Stillman and Company. We'll see y'all tomorrow.